hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Sackdown. Today we have KC's jungler Yike, somebody who we've actually talked about quite a bit on this show before. Brought you up multiple times because you have been one of the best junglers now in LEC for about 3 years now. So it's been like a long time of you actually grinding and being at the top. And I feel like the perfect place to start with you is one of the things that we always use as an example of where you were a player where you joined a super good team, right? Like you joined G2. It's like the first team that you ever played for, and you instantly started winning. And Yamato and I have this theory about players that like when you win all the time, it's harder to like work on yourself in a way because it's like your mistakes aren't as obvious to yourself as a player. Like I noticed this with myself. Like I joined a decently successful team back when I started with Dignitas. Like I was playing with players that were really good in NA, and it kind of like didn't matter what I did. Like we'd find a way to win no matter what. And I didn't realize until I went on to Curse like 2 years later where I was like, holy shit, am I just like boosted or some shit? Why is it so fucking hard to win? So one thing we would always say is like a player needs to suffer. And we would say Yike would be a better player if he suffered. Like if he joined like a team where he had to like struggle for every single win, because then like all your mistakes become so obvious to you. And right after that, you decided to join KC and then win another title. So we were talking about how nice it would be for you to like, be on KC. Like, damn, he might like evolve into like a completely different player after playing with them, but you're just you're still winning. So are we just wrong, or were we just like delusional and you're actually just the GOAT, or what's going on here?
Nah, I would not say I'm the GOAT. But I mean, the thing with suffering, the thing is when I went to KC, it was really different, of course, because I mean it's just different players. Like since G2, like ever since LDLC, like where I started, I always had like fully different players every time, and I'm always like the only new guy joining the team, because there were like 3 guys in KC who were like all together, like Vladi, Kana, and Targa, and then the new Caliste as well. So I was like new. Same in G2 kinda. I think Caps, Mickey, they knew each other, and BB as well. Caps and BB knew each other, and Hans and Mickey, like they all kind of knew each other from themselves. And I was always the new one, and I always had to like adapt to people's playstyles, I guess, like that. But yeah, when I joined G2, for sure, it was just very easy to play the game. I feel like I didn't really have to do much. I was just slowly winning every game. I got fed like every game, and it felt very easy. And now when I joined KC, there is for sure some different stuff where I feel like I do get punished more, and I learn more from my mistakes. Like there's for like some stuff, especially with like waves, for example, is where I learned a lot now in KC than in G2, because I feel like they kind of carried, like for example, like Caps was always carrying like the way we play side lanes and what ways we want to play on, all of that, and we just improved a lot more now in KC. Like I learn more, and I can just do much more like by myself without having to listen to others.
Awesome. So it's like so even though you're winning, you're kind of like mildly suffering. It's like a mild inconvenience in some ways.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
So it's not.
I'm griefing a lot, I know I'm griefing a lot of times, but I still learn from it. Like what I like to do is always rewatch like all the games I play, like scrims as well. I rewatch like my mistakes, and I think that's the best way for me to improve. And in G2, it was like less mistakes because we just won as much. But now in KC, like even though we're also winning, we're still losing some games. We have like very messy games, and those games I can really learn a lot from. So that's what I like.
Interesting. Yamato, you want to chime in on the suffering?
No, it's interesting because I do think I am a part. I do feel like there is some sense of suffering still, because LEC seems a lot more difficult this year than the previous years. It's like your opponent in the previous years was a fanatic that you guys beat, no matter how grim it would look like. I don't know if that plays a part in how easy it is, but on my end, I want to do the usual. I want to go down the trip of the memory lane with our boy Yike here. Because the beginning, there's a lot of meaty parts in between. You've probably had the most eventful and most rapid rise to success. Like your soon to be 3 years in LEC is like the most eventful of all time. How far do you want to go back, Dom? The beginning?
Oh, we could go to the beginning. I feel like LDLC is where I would start. That's where I first was like aware of you as a player, because back then that was 2022 that you're in LDLC, and that's when Crowdy was playing in LFL. So I actually watched you play a lot against that like BDS Academy lineup, the one that had like Sheo on it, and
I remember.
Yeah, and they're swapping like Aggressivo and stuff back then. So yeah, no, I'm down to go as far back as 2022. But if you have something before there, Yamato, you can let us know.
No, I'm at 2022. Unless was there some secret stories from
Actually,
before that time?
No. Actually, I have something. Never mind. I lied. Bullshit. We're gonna go back to the NLC days because right now, Yamato and I, we own an NLC team. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called the Ruddy Sack. Okay, so
I've seen it.
Yeah, we're right now one of the two teams that are qualified in the NLC. We're one of the top two NLC teams, which is like us and Nord, and then like Los Ratones is fighting through the losers bracket. Like they might join us, but but who knows? Like like they have to play like 3 matches to qualify, and like we're already qualified. It just it's one of those things where there's levels to the shit, right? But you actually played on a team that we have quite a history with it at this point, which is Bulldog Esports. Can you tell us anything about what it was like being on Bulldog Esports?
Bro, Bulldog Esports, I don't even remember when that was. I think that was like actually one of my first teams. It was like my first or second. Like I knew I played like in a random Polish tournament, the first team I played in. And then it was like, I think a Swedish team or it was Bulldog. I don't remember. I have to check as well, my Leaguepedia. But
yeah, it's like Vortex 5, Hybrid Esports, then it's Bulldog at September 2019.
Yeah, and it was not long. I think the Bulldog like era for me. It was like kind of short. I was playing online with them, and I was gonna play like some I don't know what it was called, but it was like some event, like offline event in England, I guess. And I said like, nah, I'm too scared to go fly away. So I didn't go there, and then I stopped playing with them. Because like before, nice. I was actually very like, I don't know, I was very stressed, playing the game. I'm a very stressful person and very like, nervous going to games. Like I think it's normal for some players, but for me it was like very, very, on a crazy level because I kind of was just too scared to join anything. Like that was not online. So ever since before LDLC, basically, I was just playing from home, and that was like my comfort zone. But then, that's like the Bulldog. It was nothing special. I think I just played like, I don't even know if I played how many official games I played, but I think I went like 0-4, and then I dipped.
Nice. Do you know anything about our interactions with Bulldog?
I've seen some tweets, I feel like, but I don't remember. Not like I know.
Okay, so Bulldog. So our previous lineup was a lineup with a lot of players that you probably know. We had Perks top lane. We had Yankos jungle. We had leader in the mid lane, and then our bot lane was Hums and Hustlin. That was our team. And Bulldog just beat the shit out of us. Like every time we played them, they just fucked us. Like it was brutal. We couldn't beat them. No matter what, we could not beat Bulldog. So yeah, they were our fathers. Then we got a new lineup, this split, and then Bulldog beat us again. And then finally last week, we still lost them with the new lineup. And then finally last week we played with our new lineup in playoffs. It was a huge match because it was the qualifier to the LAN that's going on in Denmark, and we finally beat Bulldog. So they're kind of our rivals here in the NLC. That's why I decided to ask you about them.
I thought it was going to be lots of tones, but I guess Bulldog, they looked like, I remember you guys lost to them, and you guys didn't go to EU Masters, right? I don't know if it was because of them or because of another team, but
there was like 6 teams above us, but like there was about 5 or 6 teams above. We're complete dog shit. We were just horrible. Like it was just embarrassing for everyone, and then the whole team just left. It was really disgusting. We try to not talk about this here. I don't even know why I brought it up in the first place. Like it's
fine. We don't have to talk about
it. It's the lowest point of my league esports career. So yeah. We can move on to LDLC.
We focus on Yike though. We focus on Yike.
But I like your team now though because you have 2 Swedish players, right? You're playing Nutty Nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are the goats. I'm gonna be hyped to watch them. I will probably watch some of the games and cheer for them.
Nice.
Okay, very cool. So, something that you mentioned, Yike. You said that you feel like nervous and stressed coming into games. I imagine at some point in your career that you managed to conquer this, because obviously we've seen you play at the MSI Worlds and so forth. What was the steps that you kind of went through in order to conquer that fear? Because I imagine for a lot of people they feel the same, playing on stage, playing offline, playing away from comfort, as you mentioned yourself.
Yeah, it's probably the same for a lot of people. For me, the biggest step was after LLC when I joined G2, because in LLC there was no performance coach, but I got Isma right in G2, and he was working a lot with me. And like every day we just had talks about it. He helped me so much with just how to prepare mentally, how to take care of myself, and how to just get ready for every game. And for the 2 years in G2, 2023, 2024, he just helped me so much. So after that, I feel very good with it, right? Like I'm still stressed. I think everyone is stressed, because if you're not stressed, you just, I don't know, I feel a bit like I don't know if you care as much. Like that's what people say, right? When you don't feel any stress, then it's like you don't really care about it. So Yeah, I'm like right now I'm good with it, so I'm really happy with that.
Do you have like some secret ritual that you do, like some kind of like thing that you do on game day?
I used to visualize a lot, like how the day was gonna go, and like the good cases, the bad cases. Like that was something Isma taught me. And then a main thing I do is just sometimes I just write down like notes, and then I just read them, like positive things, like how it's gonna go, how the day is gonna go, like about just anything, that helps me. So
Cool.
yeah, that would be my tip, I guess.
Okay. Dom, take us to the LDLC days. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean LDLC. I mean, so this LDLC lineup. I mean, it was. I think the most interesting part of it was that it was a lineup where when you joined, you pretty much had like immediate success, and you were just hyped up as like one of like the best junglers in ERLs immediately. Like I remember the entire time, you were doing super well, and it kind of gave me like a weird read on Sheo when he joined, because I was like, oh man, Yike is like kind of like shitting on this guy. And you were playing a lot of carry junglers, like you were just being able to have a lot of good performances. And then also that was a split that had a lot of like junglers that were pretty respected at the time. So like Joko has been in LFL forever. You had Tinks. This was like right after he had been with SK, like maybe a year or two before he had been with SK. You had Memento in there, who's obviously ex LC. You had 1-1. Yeah, you had 113. You had Sheo. Skeens was there. He was recently ex LEC. So when you were playing in LFL, like how did you feel at this time? Because I mean, it feels like over time LFL has gotten, I wouldn't say like weaker, but I say there's less huge names. But this was the time where it felt like LFL had a bunch of huge names. So how did you feel joining this league? Did you think that this was just like a really hard competition? Were you nervous as to like how it was going to go? What was your mentality going into this year of LFL?
Yeah, for sure. I was like scared coming into the split because I felt like that was like the peak of LFL. Like it was even Reckless joining, right? And everyone was hyped about that. And like all the teams were looking very strong, like BDS, KC, all other teams. And I joined the LLC roster, and I don't know how they did the last year, but it was mostly the same players. I think they replaced only the top lane because it was still Eika, kha'zix, and DOS, and then they replaced top lane for Ragnar. So it was only me and him joining. And when I looked at like the tier list people put, we were always like top 6, top 7 in everyone's tier list. And then, yeah, I didn't know how high the expectations would be because I don't know how good I would be compared to those junglers because, yeah, they were all like very good junglers. And I was just like a kind of a random joining the league. And yeah, the first split just went like really good for us. We won the whole thing and I had a good split. It was always like the battle kind of between me and Sheo, right? It's been like that for like so many years now. And I mean, it's a fun rivalry I have with him.
Yeah, interesting. I was wondering how you thought about like just the BDSA team in general back then, because I feel like this BDS lineup, I mean, the summer split is especially when I started watching a lot, and that's when Adam famously got benched from BDS main team, and then he's in there and like yeah. So like this team was legit. I mean, you were playing against a pretty much a full like LEC team at that time. So how did it feel playing against this BDS team? Were they like specifically good? Did you have to like improve a lot to beat them? What was it like playing against this team?
Yeah, they were for sure really good, especially in summer. I think in winter they had the other top lane, right? Aggressivo or
Aggressivo.
Yeah, exactly. And then they replaced him for Adam, or they swapped, I guess. And for sure in winter they were a bit easier, but then when Adam joined, he had like a special thing where like playing his like champions, the Darius, the Garen, all of this shit. And then he also played like I remember he was actually like
really good at Gnar.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say the Gnar. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember because people don't really talk about his Gnar right now. But whenever I think about Adam Gnar, I'm like, yeah, he was actually good at the champ, and it was like we had to ban it, or like pick it away from him. And yeah, it was always like very close playing against them. We managed to win both finals against them. I think we played both winter and spring finals, and then in the Masters, I think we never played them. But yeah, in scrims, it was always like the hardest scrim for us. And yeah, it was like this team, and then KC as well, of course. Like in winter, they beat us in the E Masters, and in summer they were kind of I don't know what happened in summer, but yeah, it was
like 6 or something, right? Were they like?
Yeah,
they were low in summer. I remember.
Yeah, I don't know, but they kind of stumped us in the winter finals. So yeah, BDS was like for sure hard.
Yeah. Did you notice at this time how much like hype you were getting? Because like, for example, like, I mean, I was watching LFL, I even like, I think because Crowny's one of my boys and Rat is also like, friends with us. So Rat IRL and we would watch like some of Crowny's games on stream sometimes. Like we just live view them, have like 1K viewers, live viewing LFL in English. Like no one gave a fuck, but it was a good time. But even outside of that, I'd been hearing your name for a while. Like people were talking about you consistently, like, oh, this is one of the best junglers, because they do this in Europe with ERLs, like, oh, this is one of the best junglers in EU. Like I was hearing the same thing about Skumon, for example, last year. People were saying, yeah, Skumon's like really fucking good, even though he's not in LEC. Did you realize how much hype was around your name, that like a lot of people thought you were actually like not just LEC caliber, like you could go to LEC, like people thought you were maybe one of the best junglers in Europe, even though you were in ERLs?
Yeah, no, I actually didn't really have any idea of that. So I guess just full focus on myself, right, and the team. But hearing that, like, because like last year, I heard the kind of similar things about Skimon, and I would assume I was probably like the same kind of way, like hyped up as he was. So I can see now, like, how people look at people. Because I had no idea how people looked at me. I knew probably from solo queue that people thought I was good, but I was also a bit toxic in solo queue. So I knew I had like a good and a like bad reputation in solo queue. But I mean, if
you play jungle, it's excusable. Like that's just how it goes, you know.
Yeah,
like,
that's how it works, right? I think every younger is like low-key toxic. So
except for me, you know.
You're not toxic.
Domin's not toxic at all.
Yeah, I'm not toxic at all.
Yeah, but
he's a good guy.
But I saw one. No, go for it, Yike.
No, go ahead.
I didn't really pay much attention to the hype. I was just focused on me, myself, and my team, and we did our thing, and I was really proud of myself and also my whole LDLC team, right? I feel like it was a very good run we had this whole year.
In terms of how, like considering how everything, I imagine like your whole life changed. It's like you jumped into the LEC, started winning. In terms of, let's say, how aware you were. Like usually it's like some people have the mindset, it's like, oh, I'm going to win it all. I'm going to become the best. In terms of how you would, if you could share how your like frame of mind in terms of what your career would be when you were in the LDLC era, was it something that you were aware of in terms of what your future might hold? Were you already like filled with that level of ambition?
Yeah, I mean, I was like looking, especially when we like won the first LFL split, I was like thinking about, oh yeah, maybe I can join, like I was like, oh, maybe I can join the league like next year, and I was just hyped about that. And I knew that the year was going very well, and I actually had no idea, like even before LLC, I was in Division 2 of France, so I was like very kind of in the like lower leagues, and I had no idea I was gonna go this fast, and I was gonna go like straight to G2 after that. So it's crazy like how fast it kind of went for me. I don't know, I can't really think of anyone that's been like this fast kind of like staircase up like I had.
Yeah, I mean the other person that would be the one that we've mentioned, which is like Skumon joining G2. You know, it felt like it was. I think that was even the criticism a lot of people had, was they're like, you're just getting Yike 2.0. Like it's like they did that whole process with you where they got like the most hyped, like, you know, rookie jungler from LFL, get him into the team, and then they just like 3 years later did the same thing again with the next really hyped LFL jungler that had just won LFL before that. I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. Unfortunately, traditional big wireless carriers also like to keep my money as well. After years of overpaying for wireless, I finally got fed up from crazy high wireless bills, bogus fees, and free perks that actually cost more money in the long run, and I switched to Mint Mobile. Say bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number with you as well, along with all of your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/sackdown. That's mintmobile.com/sackdown. Disclaimer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month, obviously. New customer offer for the first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. You obviously don't have to mention any of the teams for this question I'm going to ask you, but did you get like a lot of offers when you were joining the LEC? Because I assume that like it wasn't just G2 that wanted you at this point. You know, they probably had a few teams in LEC that were looking at you.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the rosters that didn't have like a younger already were probably like were probably in talks with me. But yeah, I can't remember like exactly, but probably like most of them were probably interested in me. So it was the same for Kumon. I think he probably had like it's usually probably all the teams that have a free spot in the younger role is probably gonna at least ask like talk about it.
Interesting. So joining, let's just go straight into it. So joining this 2023 I wanted to talk about what your expectations were joining the roster, because people now see that team was super fucking dominant. But like when I saw the roster get announced, I wasn't exactly sure how good he would be, because BB was coming from Schalke. Like Schalke had just won 10th. He obviously looked good. I actually had him as like a top laner in the LEC at that time, even though he was on the 10th place team. But for the most part, players were coming off years that were not like the best. Like Mickey X is joining back from XL. XL was not a top team. Hans Sama had a famously really bad year in North America by his standards. Like he was somebody who was always at the top of EU, and then when he came to North America, he played this year with TL where by the end of it was like he was only playing like Jinx and like Seraphine, and it's like, who is this guy? Like this guy who used to be the Draven one trick, right? Like that's what he was. He was the Draven Caliste 2 trick. He would just shit on everyone in lane, and now he's like picking Jinx and trying to scale. So when you were coming into this roster, what did you think like the expectations were? Because people were coming in from all different like levels, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to know the expectations because G2 had just lost, right? The last year finals against Rogue. They lost the finals, so I mean, at that time they were not the strongest. But when I joined and I saw like the players, even though Hansama was like had kind of the bad year in NA, and BB, I'm not sure about like the talks about him, but I knew he was like always a good top laner. Caps, I knew Caps was like the GOAT, and I know Mickey as well. Mickey was always very, very good support. So I knew no matter what, it was gonna be a strong team, and I just had to make sure that I was on the same level as them. So ever since the scrim started, I just put in like a lot of time to just match them. I was always listening to them, doing like what they said, and that's kind of from like what you said in the start, where I didn't really suffer so much. I just copied like my teammates, and I just learned so much from them, and they just helped me to become like very good at like a lot of stuff, but not everything.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you how the scrims started, because like the word on the street was that you guys just jumped into scrims and were just shitting on everyone from like day one 2023. You guys were by far the best team. Like I was just hearing people talk about like, oh fuck, you got to watch out for G2. They're fucking crazy. So I'm like, I was hearing specifically that Hans and Mickey X were just shitting on everyone bot lane 2v2. Like no one could even play. So was it actually like that, where you just jumped into scrims and everything was just clicking immediately?
Yeah, it was. I remember as well, like the first scrims. It was just Dylan telling me like if I can play Graves and how good my Graves is, because I think the world's meta was a lot of Graves the worlds before, and there was also the Heimerdinger bot and like Ash, Varus, like these like very crazy bot lane and Graves. So that's why we played like first game, and we just made the strat of just do one camp and then just invade, and we either dive in bot or we just invade the enemy camps. And we did it like every game. They lost every single time. They just lost. And they just had to like either remake or they just lost the game in like 15-20 minutes. And it was like very big stomps every single game. And yeah, maybe the strat was just OP that we had, right? With just playing the strong champs and just perma like snowballing on them. Because yeah, I remember the first time playing with Hans, he was just like saying everything you want to do in lane, like every way you could dive them as well. And it felt just so easy to play the game. And yeah, the scrims for just, it was really big stomps for sure.
When you joined the team, in terms of the level of guidance, because I imagine from their side they planned it's like to bring in a rookie, of course. In terms of the guidance you got from your teammates, and in terms of how they set you up for success, what are some pointers that you can give in terms of how they prepared you for, of course, your first LEC matches eventually?
Yeah, I remember for my first LEC match, I was I kind of wanted to be like kind of chilling. I remember it was like I could choose between probably playing like Wukong or Graves, and I could choose to just play Wukong and just like farm, do my thing later, just farm and ult and just be OP, or play Graves, and we would do like the invade strat, right? Where I don't know if you guys remember the first game against XL we played.
Yeah,
I did like
I think
2
it was
camps,
Heimer, right?
We played the Graves Heimer, and I don't know what LC, probably S. And we did a strat where I do like red Raptors and then I invade his bot side trucks. Like it was like no one really did that, and I just go first game do this. So I play with like no fear, I guess. And I'm really happy that I went for that kind of direction instead of being like going for the safe direction of just playing something chill and just farming. So yeah, I mean, I think everyone in my team just helped me feel very comfortable. And on the game day, I felt very ready, I guess, to do that. And yeah, I think just a lot of like comfort from my teammates and my staff.
Was it the situation in a way where you were given like the freedom to like express yourself, or was it like, oh, this is what we expect from you, and this is how we want you to play? How did they kind of frame it? Did they say, Yike, do what you want to do, we're gonna support you, or what was the angle?
No, they for sure wanted to adapt to me, but I got some, for example, like tips with, what champions were strong, because, I was not really sure about the meta, right? And then I heard about the grade thing, and I knew that, I felt like I was very good on grade, so I obviously agreed with that, and we played that a lot. And then I could mostly just choose, what I wanted to play, right? I played like Graves, I played Kindred, I played like all the carry champs, and then, yeah, I think I could just, it felt very free for me what I could pick. Like I could just pick whatever I wanted when I wanted to, and it felt so easy in the draft for me. So that winter split, like especially that winter split, felt really easy for me.
Well, that winter split, I'm trying to remember if there was like any like stumbles. You guys trioed Mad Lions. It was weird.
Well, I was just looking. I was just looking at this. Do you know what split, what place you guys had in the regular split before you guys got into like the best of threes and best of fives?
Oh yeah, we were not third. Like I think we were like third or fourth. I think we were not.
Yeah, you guys were fourth.
Yeah,
and
we actually. Yeah, true.
Yeah, so like there was some games that had people questioning like how good you guys really were, because it's gonna sound weird in retrospect, but back then that was when Vitality was like coming in like hot. Like Bo came in and the first 7 games he played, he was just like the GOAT. Like it was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like he was just crazy on engages. And it wasn't until like the end of that regular season that he started falling off a bit. But like his first games were like super dominant. And he obviously played up against you. I think he had a pretty good game. I think it was like a Vi game or something. He played.
He played Udyr.
Yeah, he played Vi into your Udyr, and it didn't go super well for you.
Yeah,
so like
I remember, yeah.
Did you still think that you guys, even though you dropped some best of ones, do you guys still feel like you were the best, or were you worried about the Vitality? The Vitality era.
Yeah, I was not really that scared of Vitality. I knew we lost to them, but I knew like in scrims, like that loss was like a bit cringe, right? It was like my first Udyr game. We had like practice some Udyr against like the tanks, like Sidrian and Maokai, and then we were like, we can probably try it against Vi as well, but it didn't really work because Vi was a bit strong back then. And after that, we still like every game, like most of the games we played, we were like either big stomp or like small mistakes. Like I'm also looking at like my losses. I had like a random Kindred loss where I always useless, and like the Udyr loss. And besides these like kind of like troll games, it was like really big stomps from us. And I think Vitality was not really that scary. Mostly, from us probably was just winning against them in scrims a lot. So probably that makes us less scared of them.
So I was gonna ask you about this period, because one of the things that, like, one of the narratives, or even like something that I remember saying at the time, is when you were playing in those first games, you guys were like winning bot and you were invading and you were getting super far ahead. But that Vitality game was one where like it was kind of a slow game. Like you weren't really able to like do much early. There wasn't like a massive bot gap that you could play around. It felt like there wasn't anything for you to really like latch onto. And I remember saying like, oh, this guy is like really good when he has winning lanes, but like we'll see how he works on a team that's not winning. Like if the team is having losing lanes, like he's not somebody that knows how to play with like losing lanes super well, or like make the difference or find his timings in game. Do you think this was like a fair criticism of this time, where you were like good at being a front runner, but you weren't that good at like finding out how to like come back in games?
Yeah, I mean my habit from like the whole split was just us picking winning lanes and us invading. And whenever we couldn't do that, it for sure felt different, like especially when it happened on stage, because usually it didn't happen so much on stage. Or like we usually just had like winning lanes anyways. But then this was like a different game. We had some good success in scrims, right, with the Udyr. That's why we picked it. But yeah, like when we didn't have this, it was just for sure I could have done more. And I know that myself. Like, and I improved, I think, later on, like with I remember like one MSI, I like kind of changed like the playstyle of just ganking more. But for sure, the invade, like when I couldn't invade, it was like a bit different to play, because that was just a whole strat for like the whole split.
Yep, for sure.
Well,
Yamato, you have anything before we move on?
No, I just for me, like the curiosity. I remember this year in particular, like you guys were so focused on playing like the bot lane centric style, and I think a big shock for everyone was right when in spring. Like that's where I'm moving on, Dom. If you have anything in between, you just interrupt me.
No, I'm good.
Because like in spring, I think the big shock for everybody was the loss against Mad Lions, right? Because like everyone I assumed you guys are going to win anyway. In fact, the Mad Lions won a split. If I remember correctly, it was like mostly due to them like really figuring out their draft. They had like the Vi Gragas combos.
Yeah, the Gragas mid.
Gragas mid, bro. Niski special.
The Niski special.
Yeah.
The question I wanted to ask is, was there any point, was MSI the big breaking point where you guys realized that this particular playstyle can only get you so far? Because everything was very, very centered around like winning bot super, super hard, letting Mickey roam the map. And MSI just seemed like such a big like blocker in terms of how far you guys could extend this type of play. Were there any signs regionally, or was that just you guys having really, really strong conviction in this identity?
Yeah, I mean, I remember going into the MSI and us not being able to win lane every game, right? Because the opponents were just better, and it for sure got harder for us. And I remember us like trying to adapt more. I'm trying to remember what we played, like the champions we played, because it was more of a carry.
Like really good. Yeah, I mean, you were playing carries. You played in MSI. You played like Nidalee, kha'zix, Viego.
Yeah, it was like the
Poppy, Belveth, Maokai, and then you finished with like a Gragas game.
Mm-hmm. So it was more of like a carry jungle meta, and I feel like I remember I had like a good MSI. I remember I was like happy with my MSI performance, but we still like didn't really do that well. We beat like Mad Lions and I think PSG Talon, and then we just got like, I don't think we got stomped by like Genji and BLG, but we won one game. But after this, like, it was my first time playing international too, so it was a very interesting experience for me because I kind of came into that just being very cocky. I just wanted to go scrim, and try to gap all the like best youngsters in the world, and I couldn't do it every time. I feel like we had some very good scrims, but like on stage it was for sure harder, and they were like very good. But playing like the same style, we realized that people adapt kind of fast, especially like the Asian teams. I feel like they always adapt very fast to the playstyle like us or like Europe has, and then they know how to win against it. And I feel like it's always been like that every international play against them.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that was most notable about this MSI for me is that game 3 that you had versus BLG, because I felt like you guys really were about to like win that game. Like you were super far ahead on Viego. I remember there was like a point where I think Elk just like completely sent it and inted, and then it felt like you guys were going to win, and then somehow like Hans just sent it back. Like Hans got caught in the next fight, and then suddenly like you guys were playing Jinx, and then obviously you ended up losing afterwards. I think that was such an interesting time because at that point, people thought that like BLG was kind of shit. Like the whole narrative was that BLG was the worst Asian team by far. Like they're not even close. Like just don't even fucking speak about them. Like talk about only like T1, JDG, and Genji. Like BLG doesn't count. And even when you guys started to beat them, that's like what I just remember. Even in like my chat, for example, everyone was like, "Damn, this team is fucking frauds." Like G2's about to clear them, and like 5 minutes later, it's like, "Well, I guess it's fucking doomed." Like I guess it wasn't meant to be after all. But still at this point, it seemed like you guys were like definitely like the best Western team at this point. Like it felt like you guys were the only Western team that was even putting up a fight. I remember on the other side of things, like C9 just got completely smoked by Genji. It was like 3-0, not even close. And you guys were actually able to like to win games, take games, and have positive game states, which was a big change. I wanted to ask you like what your mentality was after you were eliminated from this tournament. Were you like, oh man, we're like this close. If we just improve like this much, we'll be able to like, do really well at Worlds? Or how did you think about this loss?
Yeah, for this international, when I lost, I was more on, that like the more of like improving way, because my first international, I was like, obviously like winning it would be crazy, but I was not sure if I was going to win it. So just a lot of scrims against the best teams in the world and just kind of getting humbled by like the best teams, because I thought like me and my team were like very good, and I knew that we are a good team, but you could still see like the gap was pretty big, like especially the other Western teams to the Eastern teams, there was like no way they could win, and us, we had like one win, and like we had like close games, right, where we could win more, but still felt like we had to really like sweat a lot and like really outplay them to win these games. So I could see that the gap was still there, like not a big gap, but there was like a gap, and for me, it gave me more motivation to just do better, like coming into Worlds, and probably the same for the whole team. And we just make sure to just work harder. Even though like in Europe, it was like a lot of talk about like how the scrim level is just bad, and it improved at this, right? After like I remember Romain did like these tweets about the scrims, because people were canceling so much, and then it slowly improved. And ever since then, it's been like the scrims have been good, like in Europe, at least like people not canceling.
Nice.
I wanted to ask, yeah, because it's always intriguing. It's like always when someone scrims for the first time against the Asian teams or plays against them. Was it like a big shock in terms of the level, or did you feel like your team was just good enough? What was your first initial experience? Because I don't know how what the scrim situation was in London, because I know the Asian teams flew in kind of late, but did you get a chance to play against them before the matches?
Yeah, I think the first team I scrimmed was Cloud9 coming from NA, and that was like fun playing versus Blabber. I was actually hyped playing versus Blabber. He played, actually, I don't know if I can say what he played in script. It was 2 years ago, right? I can say what he played in script.
Yeah, of course you can say, man. Like,
I don't know. So he played like Nidalee, and first game he just like perma-invaded me. I played Viego, but we still won the game, and I think we kind of stomped Cloud9 that scrim block. And moving on, we went to London after that, and we started like bootcamping there, and some Asian teams started coming. Like I think BLG was the first one, and that was the first team we scrimmed. Actually, I had no idea about the BLG team, like about the players, about like the org, nothing. I didn't know anything because it was kind of new, right? BLG that year. That's kind of where they like came, I guess. At least international. So seeing all the players and just trying, like I only knew like Bin, I guess, because he went like to the finals in Worlds and all of that, and didn't know much about the rest. But the scrims against them
and
went
won
well.
MSI
Like,
the year before.
yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
With RNG. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. But yeah, the scrims against them, I'm pretty sure we won like, the first scrim we had against BLG, and I felt like very confident, right? After that, I was like, oh shit, we can maybe stomp all of them. And then we played versus. We probably like Romain probably has like the tweets right of the scrims, but we played versus like probably like T1 in these teams, and we went kind of even. The only hard team was actually Genji. I think with T1 and JDG, I think we went like even scrims, and Genji kind of stomped us, if I remember correct. Maybe I'm wrong, but the scrims, went well, and that's why I was like very confident as well going into the MSI. And yeah, it was a tough one, but we had some good games. So.
How did this? I was always curious. How did this meta shape up? Because like it was a really big change in the meta as to like especially mid laners. This was the tournament, if people remember, where there was like Nautilus mid all the time.
Yeah.
Like Caps was playing Nautilus mid, and then Faker was playing Nautilus mid, and every T1 fan was like, "Please stop fucking playing Nautilus. Play anything but Nautilus," because he was like losing all the time on it. But I wanted to like know what you thought about like this Nautilus mid meta that randomly hit for like MSI, because it still seems kind of random looking back.
Yeah, it's like such a random meta. I don't even know how it started. I'm pretty sure like I feel like it was Cap who like started it, because he was like playing it in like some solo games with me, and then I don't know if there was someone before him, but he was the one I remember first playing Nautilus, and he played it in MSI as well the first game, I think, because we were in the lower, like we were in play-ins, right? Because we were the second seed.
Yeah,
and
I think it was like game 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And he was like stomping with it. So then after that, it was like a permaban champ, and sometimes like Faker played it as well. And in scrims, it was like permaban, like it was permaban or pick, because it was also flex. And yeah, I don't know. The mid meta was like so weird. There was Nautilus, and then there was a lot of Annie, right? That's when she was
Annie Lissandra.
Yeah, exactly. It was like really set up mids. That's why the carriers were OP as well, because kha'zix also got buffed, I think, and everyone was playing kha'zix. And I was also like a really good kha'zix from before, because I played him a lot, like even in LLC, and I felt like it was good meta for me, but the mid meta was just overall pretty weird. And we started like find out like is there like more times we could play mid, like similar to Nautilus. We were thinking about like playing like Tarek mid and playing like this weird mids, but didn't work out.
Yeah, so this game 1, the first game that you guys had was actually like I think this is gonna probably like jog your memory a bit. So this was the game where Croc didn't buy a jungle item on Sejuani. Do you remember?
Oh,
Croc
I remember. Yeah. I invaded him as well, right?
Yes, you invaded him as well. You guys like looked like you were kind of like a little bit ahead, and then you guys just started falling off a cliff. You guys got like super insanely far behind, and I believe that there was like a Baron situation or something where you guys just completely turned it and ended up winning. But for a lot of this game, it looked like you guys were just gonna lose. Like it was like, holy fuck, are they gonna lose to Brazil without the Brazilian jungler buying an item level 1? Like
I didn't realize they didn't buy it. Like during the invade, like I didn't even realize. I was just playing the game, and then I saw like afterwards he was like face palming, and he was like not happy, losing the game, or not losing the game, but just not having his might item.
Yeah.
But man, we managed to win, right?
Yeah, you guys managed to win in the end. You guys came back from. I'm looking at the gold graph now. You guys were 6K behind at 20 minutes.
Really? It was an Italy game, right?
Yeah, it was an Italy game.
Yeah, I actually don't remember what made us come back, but they were probably like a Baron or something.
Yeah, it was like some Baron situation. I'm pretty sure, and then you guys won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that was an interesting time, man. That was an interesting time. I feel like that MSI was actually like one of my favorite tournaments in like recent years. Like, I just thought that MSI was really cool, because that was also the first time that there was this MSI format that now we've had a couple times now. We had the MSI format where we had only like we had like no best of ones, only best of threes, best of fives, and for the longest time MSI was like a shit tournament. I'll just say it like how it is. The MSI was essentially the same format as like this first stand. It was just some garbage where it's like 2 best of fives, semifinals, 1 best of 5 finals, like, one team's eliminator, like whatever in the first however many games are played. Like you played the same team a million times. Like I remember it was so weird that PSG played RNG in 4 best of ones in 2021. They played 4 best of ones versus the same fucking team in like 3 days. It was like, what am I actually watching here? Like, why am I watching RNG, a team from China who ended up winning the tournament, like one of the best teams in the world at the time, play against an OCE team where they didn't even really have a region. They had like a makeshift region at that point. That was like after the OPL had kind of went to shit. And we just had to watch them just like beat up on like kids in 20 minutes, like over and over again. So this MSI was just really nice because it felt like esports was just so alive and people were so hyped to play in this tournament. Yamato, you got anything else for MSI, or do you want to move on from it?
No, I think that the curiosity of this year, right, is it's like how the playstyle eventually like reached like a peak. I think like in summer definitely there was like a shift in which I had to play jungle. I remember like Rel jungle became a big thing.
Yeah.
Sejuani, the Maokai the tree meme began to appear. But in terms of how the summer played out, as far as I remember it was also quite easy breezy. So my mind is already at the World Championship. So Dom, if you have something for summer.
I've got stuff for summer. So this is when I was probably flaming you the most in this summer, because I remember you were just invading and you died like invading in the best of ones. Like, I don't know if you remember this. It was like 5 out of 9 games or something ridiculous. It was like almost every game you just like walk into the enemy jungler and die the enemy jungle and just die for no reason. So what was going on here? Like, you got to tell me, man, because I was losing my mind during this split.
I mean, we had this meme in G2 as well, but I always die at enemy raptors. And
every game actually.
Yeah, I remember these games as well. I remember playing like Maokai, going to enemy Gromp, just trying to fight it, and then I just die. I think it became super greedy, like especially when I play like these like slower champs like Maokai, Rel, like this like more tanky youngsters, and sometimes I was like just greedy, like trying to make something happen, and it was just you try to make it like if we can't like dive or gank, then just look to evade, right? And it was just too greedy, too deep basically me going in, and I think I had like so many troll games like that. And also I remember like that was kind of the split where I started like playing much more like kind of like tanks, kind of like I played Rel. I think I played Trundle as well a lot, and it was a Maokai, Rel, Trundle, these kind of champs. And before I was more like playing the carry, like in winter I was playing carries. In spring I don't really remember, it was like a bit of like a mix, but in summer I remember a lot of playing these tanks. And the regular didn't go so well, but I was more happy with like going to playoffs. I feel like it went much better. Like all the Rel games went good. Like I probably died sometimes still, right? But I think overall that was probably our like peak in the like in Europe, at least, like the way we played. I feel like we played like games very good. I feel like summer was really dominant, especially after the spring split. So I'm happy that we played much better that split.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this jungle meta. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever looked at in my entire life, man. Like, okay, here's your champions. Maokai, Nocturne, Maokai, Trundle, Maokai, Trundle, 1 kha'zix game, and then Trundle, Rel, Trundle, Ivern, Trundle, Rel,
Ivern.
Maokai, Trundle, Sejuani, Rel, kha'zix, Rel. Like, come on, man. Like, what am I actually looking at? It's like Maokai, Rel only meta. Like, what did they do to the role I love?
It was so disgusting. Like I was a big hater of just playing Rel every game, but now I actually kind of miss Rel. I kind of want Rel back in the jungle. He was so OP.
I mean, it was so OP.
Yeah, it was so OP. But yeah, I remember, that's what I remember, right? I played like all the tanks all the time, and it was like basically like my champion pool was 3 or 4 champions: Maokai, Rel, Trundle, and then Ivern. Like they were like these 4 champs. I just didn't play anything else than that, and then we just won the. Like it was even in the finals, I think it was like kind of similar, and I mean we won doing that, right? So I was happy, but also just playing these champs only also made a bit like as a younger you kind of want to play like carries as well, right? That's why I get like a random kha'zix game and this kind of stuff. But I'm still happy at least. I feel like I improved a lot on these more like facilitator youngsters at least.
Yeah, for sure.
The big meme like moving into just the World Championship. It's like I remember the whole conversation was in the aftermath was G2, they won the Scrim World Championship, but before like the outcome of the whole tournament and your preparation with G2 it being your first World Championship, your first like longer boot camp, I imagine, in preparation for a tournament. How did that go before you knew the actual result? Because now we can say, haha, Scrim World Championships, they won scrims, like who cares? But I can imagine from being in those scrims, like I've been in situations where I won scrims, which is very rare, against like the Asian teams being competitive. I felt fucking good about that.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel in terms of your preparation for your first World Championship?
Yeah, it was first time flying. We flew to Korea, and it was my first time like flying all the way like over to Asia. And I think all the other things we did was like in Europe. MSI was also in London, right? So it was like big step, and it was a long boot camp because we flew like 1 month before or something, and we boot camped in the T1 facility, and it was really nice. I was like, everything was new. I was like so excited. So even the Korean solo queue, everything was like so fun, and streaming versus more teams as well. Because in MSI it was like only 4 teams you could stream against, like that are good teams, but now it was like top 3, top 4 of like LPL and LCK. So it's more scrims. And yeah, it was going well, right? As I said, like we were the Scrim World Champions, and we won some scrims, we lost some scrims, but overall, I think we were all very confident going into Worlds. For me personally, the only bad thing with the bootcamp was the solo queue experience I had. Because in the solo queue, I actually had like a very good start. I was like winning every game, and then I was like, I kind of got stuck in Grandmaster while everyone else got Challenger, and I got like so, I don't know, so emotional and like kind of triggered as myself, and I was like really tilted like every solo queue day basically, and it kind of ruined I ruined my own mood, and like probably for the team as well, because going into scrims then after, like my mood was not the same. And yeah, I think the solo queue experience, my first like boot camp, was not good. So that's at least what I learned a lot from. And yeah, the Korean solo queue, it was hard for me.
Yeah, Gilius was actually there at that time, and he said that he got so triggered from solo queue that he just like stopped playing and just went to his bed and just cried. He just cried because solo queue just ruined him as like a man, and what he told us was that he actually became more like he was happy afterwards because the crying improved his testo. So he was happy that he was getting more testosterone from crying because he believes like crying improves testosterone.
Okay. Well, yeah,
so if you ever see me tweet that, like if you ever see me tweet that a team needs to cry a lot, this is the reason why I say.
I think I saw you tweet something about that.
For G2, I think they needed more testo, so I said cry every day and no fap. That was the Gilius tech. So nice. Yeah, he said we actually had a bonding moment with Perks and Gilius in the SAC where they talked about how they both cried from being boosted in solo queue. Like they were so boosted that they both just like. Yeah, they both just broke down in tears. So, like it's something that happens, man. Like it gets so frustrating. Like whenever, like if you're good, but then you feel like you're hard stuck, it's just like the worst. Like every day your mental is like always like, oh man, today's going to be a good day. And then you lose your first like 3 games in a row. And then you're just insanely triggered for the rest of the day. You're like, what the fuck? Now I have to like win 3 more to get back to where I was. And it's just like such a fucking grind. So I definitely know how that is. But yeah, let's jump into the World Championship because this was one where people had a lot of hope for the team. I mean, G2 looked like the best Western team by far. Thought it wouldn't be even close. And even the way it started, I mean, you guys started out by doing well and being able to win games against some of the Asian teams, right? So you guys started out with a win versus D+ and then a win versus Weibo. So how did you feel about like playing this format? Like what was your mentality after the first couple games, like being able to take these games off top teams?
Yeah, like I never got to experience the first world format, like the groups, right? It was just I went to this new one, the Swiss
I experienced that one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was some bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know which one is better, right? But going 2-0, I was like very hyped because I was like, oh, nice, we're gonna go playoffs, right? We can actually go far, and I was excited. I think everyone was excited because it's a like pretty good chance you probably go to playoffs going 2-0 because you have to actually lose to 3 different teams, and one of them would probably be like an NA or EU team, which would come later. And I was like, at that point, I was really excited because we actually beat the Asian teams, right? And the only bad thing was like we kind of beat them by just going like 50-minute games, like Elder Banger, and that was like I wanted us to beat them in a more convincing way, and we kind of didn't do that. But we still won, right? So we were still happy. But then we got kind of reality checked when we played with Genji. I think we got like 0-2 by Genji, and then it was the Energy series, which I don't know what happened. But yeah, that was like probably like one of my worst days ever. Like I was like really frustrated after the games.
Yeah, that's weird. That was one of my best days ever. I don't know how that. I don't know how that fucking worked out. Like what the fuck? Like, it's a coincidence, I think.
Yeah, it was so sad. I don't know. I mean, I had a bad. Yeah, I played that. I was not happy with how I played. I think I played my Belvit as well, and Contract, like,
No.
I don't know, Contract was like the best player in the world that day.
He was
I remember
so
he was
good.
like actually the best player in the world. I don't know what happened, but he actually.
I've watched
Oh
this
my God.
guy for like 7-8 years now. Like I've watched almost every single game he's played. Those are literally the best games he's ever played in his entire life. Like I don't know what the fuck was going on, but those are actually just the best games that he has ever played. Like you just gotta love it. I think
Yeah, it was
legitimately.
crazy. And
But I
then
wanted
after
to.
that, oh sorry.
I was gonna ask you a little bit more about like the Gen G series because I think the big turning point here came in this Gen G series where teams started banning out the Draven Caliste, right? Like this was one of the things that was the bread and butter of G2. You guys wanted to play these winning bot lanes, and they banned out Draven Caliste, and it felt like G2 looked way different. And then from going forward from this tournament, this is like this strategy that everyone adopted when they played against you guys. It was like Draven Caliste, you're just never getting Hans on those champions anymore, and those were actually champions that I believe he played in the first 2 matches. I'll fact check myself, but I feel like that's almost 100% correct. So how did you feel like this actually affected your team? Because it felt like when you guys played without a winning bot lane, it was always harder for you to, get leads or be able to win games.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of came back to, the winter habit we had of, we played like the Draven Caliste because it was actually open in like a lot of streams. So they just left it open, and obviously we were going to play what we thought were best for us. So yeah, whenever Caliste Draven was open, we played it, and we did the same strat of, do like one camp, two camps or 3 camps, and then we just invade or dive, and it always worked in scrims, like obviously, and we stomped everyone in scrims with that. And I think on stage, I'm not sure if we did it, but probably like something similar, us just playing aggressive with bot lane. And yeah, Kenny started banning it, I think, and probably the other teams as well. And yeah, then we got the same problem as like in spring, not in spring split, but the problems we had where we didn't really know what we wanted to do when we don't have like the aggressive bot lane that we can play around. And I was not sure as well. Like I feel like I don't think I was lost, but like it was a while ago those games. But I remember that it was so hard to play, and they were just a very good team as well. So they just pressured everything. They played tempo very well, and yeah, I was not sure like what we could do, what I could do, and yeah, the games just went. I don't know, they just stumped us from what I remember.
I'm so interested because it's like post MSI, and in terms of all of the information that you had, was this like ever something that came up in conversation that there could be a potential concern? Because now obviously we're looking at it in hindsight, knowing that you guys hit the wall at MSI, and then the difficulty of course, practicing in Europe, where Europe was probably at its lowest point, where, as you mentioned yourself, like Roman had to shame people into not canceling scrims. Was there ever like conversations about this being a potential problem? Were there like in scrims where teams banned them? Were there like layers that you guys explored, or was that something that teams just never did when they scrimmed against you guys?
Yeah, most of the teams just didn't ban it, and then when people did, we tried to. Yeah, I mean, we explored, right? We played some different camps. I think we had like a thing playing like Lucian bot as well, kind of similar to like the Caliste Draven. I think we did it one game, but yeah, it didn't work out on stage. On scrims it went well, but yeah, I think they just adapt very, very well, the Asian teams. Same like with the invade stuff, in EU, we always get away with it. We like stomp them. They either like FF or remake or whatever. But in like, when we play with like Jenny, for example, I knew Peanut, he knew what to do against it. He does one camp, and then he just goes around the whole map just to sit behind enemy bot tower, and then he just covers the dive. And then our whole strat is like kind of fucked. And that's like this thing we never like learned from like the European teams, and it's a bit sad that we couldn't learn earlier, but also, yeah, that's why we couldn't like adapt as well, because we thought like, I mean, we can't lose when we play the strat. So that's why we kept doing it, right? And then the bans happened as well, but we still felt we could low-key do it, but I guess we couldn't.
It was a rough one, especially like the last series, because I remember that game too against Bidi Bidi, like the miracle that Mickey pulled when he like got on the flank.
That was a blessed game, bro. Like I have no idea how you guys won that. I thought it was giga over.
Yeah, I don't know what happened that game. I remember it was Mickey Listano game, right? And he got like a flank up. I think I played Nocturne as well.
Yeah, it was a Nocturne, Nico mid, I believe.
Yeah,
Gaps.
we also did the dive, captured the Nico trick, right? With the cannon minion on mid, and we drove him. It was like the first time someone did it on stage, I think, and everyone was like hyped. And yeah, I don't remember what happened in that game as well, but it was like also like a sweaty game for us, and we managed to like clutch it. I think we were very good at clutching like these moments, but obviously after getting like I don't know how we lost game 1, but the games were always like either we win by really sweating a lot and like really like pushing it and like finding clutches, or we just lost. And even going into game 3 was just it was just hard. I remember they just played super aggressive. They just invaded everywhere, and we just got cooked.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about the Nico thing specifically. I just wanted to hear your take, because like when I first saw this, I was like, this shit has to be a bug. Surely Riot's going to remove it. And it's just been in the game for like 3 years since then.
And it is remove it.
Yeah. So what did you think it was bullshit? Like, were you like, oh, they're going to remove this. This is bug. This shouldn't work like this. How do you feel about it when you see something like that? Because when I see that, I lose my fucking mind. Like on stream, I'm like, what the fuck is Riot doing? I'm just like yelling at the camera. I just want to know, like, am I just mentally like cooked, or, is this actually a normal reaction?
Yeah, no, I was also confused, because I remember I think someone said, someone was like, they might pass now, after we do him like that, but they didn't pass, so that was nice. And I didn't know if it was like a bug abuse or not, but I think we read like the bug stuff and it didn't say anything about it, so that's why I guess Cap knew he could do it, and I think we did like once or twice in scrims. But yeah, I think the bug is just, it's weird, right? I don't know if it should make sense. There's also the thing where, I think it's like fine because you can still like kind of see it, and then same like as a youngster, you can smite them Nico minion, right? And some Nico players just never learn that. So
yeah.
Yeah,
it does feel good when you smite somebody for like 1,000 damage. That is like, feels like you're getting what you deserve as a jungler when that happens. It's like
it happens too often. Like all the Nico players, like they just never learn, I guess.
Yeah, that's nice. Not bad.
It's just in terms now, like the ending, right? Because I remember like that third game, it was like I think it was like they played Ashe and Braum, and you guys somehow ended up on like Kaiser, Bart, which is a combo.
It was like a very weird. We like never played that before.
it was a cocktail, that's for sure. In terms of like the aftermath.
Wait, it's so bad. Nar Maokai Azir Kaisa Bard. What the fuck?
It was we really like overcooked, and we got. I remember us getting stomped that game, especially early game, because they just invaded us and we just got fucked. And then it was just like the bot lane that we don't really play, I guess, as much, like Kais and Bard, especially the combo. I don't know if I see that often.
I don't know why you guys don't play. You should bring it back. You should suggest it tomorrow to Targamas, see what he says.
Yeah, I'll suggest it to the team.
Okay, sounds good.
The reason I brought up this big pain point, because I remember watching like the G2 like after Worlds movie, like it seemed like you guys were very destroyed, obviously, because you guys had high ambition, high hopes. In terms of like reflecting back on like everything you guys did up to that point, because I had to deal with all the shit, because I was still thinking that you guys were the best Western team. There were just certain circumstances that happened.
Yamato does this every time, by the way. I just want you to know, Yike, you have let down Yamato like 4 or 5 times. You've made him look like a clown publicly multiple times. So like every time that his credibility is called into question, just know that's your doing, okay? You are responsible for everyone thinking Yamato is a dumbass. So there you go.
I'm sorry, man.
Apparently, according to Dom, everyone thinks I'm a dumbass. I didn't know.
Depends if you go on Reddit, man. Like, don't go on Reddit, Yamato, please.
No, to my question, to my point. Just... Because obviously it's like you guys showcase it. Do you have like insane potential ceiling that you guys could grind out games against Bilibili, Damwon, and of course, Weibo Gaming? It's like NRG was a fluke win, in my opinion. You guys were the best Western team. It was rough for me because I had to fucking defend that take, because I still believe it to this day, even though NRG beat you guys. My question is, in your reflection, in terms of like the regrets of the team, considering you guys decided to move into the next year together, what were like the biggest regrets of that year in you guys' reflection and also in your personal reflection?
For me, probably just like rewatching games and like seeing feedback as well. It's just, people just said like I was like kind of like AFK, and then I started to rewatch the games, and I don't know, the games were so weird, and I was not even sure like what, like at that time I didn't know really what I could change, and I think the whole team was just, I don't know, like we had a lot of hope, and we were telling each other, right, if we win against PSG there, we'll probably go like, we could go further, right, we could go at least like maybe that's what we told each other, but it was hard to know. And like looking back at it now, I'm not sure how good we were. Like I remember talking a lot with Mickey about this, how good we were 2023 and 2024, and then now when I think about it now, I think 2024 we were just like so much better than 2023, and that's the year where I feel like we actually deserved better than what like, I mean, we lost, right, fair and square, but we could have for sure gotten much further than in 2023 because there was so many things, like fundamentals, that we just didn't understand or learn yet, like in 2023. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like we have to like restart and just look what we can just do better. Like, I think adding Dustman as well the next year helped us a lot because he was like very, very good at, you know, talking about like waves and how we want to play our waves and tempo. And yeah, I don't even remember like how we were playing before, like the way we were playing the map, but I feel like we just lost. There was always the meme of us like not playing mid game. Like, we were very bad at mid game. That was like the meme in G2, but we improved so much and then we got so much better at it. And that was, I guess, what we had to focus on a lot.
Yeah. I just want to go on record and say that I also believe that you were the best Western team at this World Championship, but I've taken up this new thing where I just like to lie publicly a lot to trigger people. So I consistently say that you guys were significantly worse than NRG, but I don't believe it at all. Like, it's just some shit that I say to just trigger everyone. So just wanted to throw that in there, that I too actually believe what Yamato said, but it's more fun to just, like, you know, just lie on the internet. So yeah. So that's what I do. So
Okay.
Yeah, you want to hit 2024, Yamato?
Let's go. Let's
Okay. So 2024 hits. So 2024, we'll start with what you talked about. A huge part of this 2024 was that you guys were no longer like stomping people super insanely hard early game. Like, at the beginning of the split, it was more like even early games, maybe even be slightly behind, but then you guys would always like play a lot better mid game. And that was something that we heard from interviews was a big focus of G2, was that you guys had to like play better at mid game. So how did you guys go into the year to try to like still be able to improve at mid game, but not lose your strength of early game? Because I feel like this is always the hardest thing to do when you're in a pro environment, is work on one of your weaknesses without losing your strength. It feels like, at least from teams I've been a part of, you like start working on the thing that you're weak at, and then you go back and you're trying to do what your strength was, and you're like, you've completely forgot how to fucking do it. And you're like, wait, how do we do this again? And then you have to like refresh it. It's this constant war. So how did you manage this within G2? How did the team manage this?
Yeah, I mean, it was similar for us, right? We knew we were like good early game team. We knew how to snowball games, and when that one came, he had a lot of VODs like about with us, and we rewatched like a lot of games, like watching BLG, watching Genji, watching the best teams, and I think that's where we learned so much about mid game. And I feel like Caps was just very insane, like with his calls in mid game, and also the way he was playing silent as well. Like, he was like a big step above everyone else, and that's probably why we were kind of smurfing every mid game. But yeah, we did lose like the early game fire we had, and I don't even know like how to like fix that thing, because it's just weird when you just put all the focus on one thing. Yeah, it's as you said, the early game just went worse, and we were more just lost on what we wanted to do. Like, me too.
Yeah, I think like what I've noticed with like teams is, at least what I think is that when you're going back to like, okay, we're gonna play like more for early game again, like, I think people assume that everyone knows what the plan is or like what they were doing, and people are not as attentive as when you initially like learn that early game. Like, for example, like when you were talking about winter split in 2023, you guys are like, okay, we play this pushing bot lane. I do like these two camps. I invade on like Krugs. Like, you have these very specific things that allow you to gain those advantages. And it feels like whenever you try to go back to like what your strength was, you like people like just assume that everyone knows what their job is, and like you don't talk about it with like the same amount of intensity that you do as when you're like learning a new concept and you're like, okay, we're trying to learn how to lane swap, and you're looking at how do we lane swap, what timers do we lane swap on, what waves do we leech experience mid. Like, you just break things down to such a more like fundamental level when you're learning a new concept that you don't do when you go back to your strengths. But it's like, it's so hard because there's only a limited amount of time in a scrim set or a day, and it feels like a lot of times, like, if you try to do too much, you just end up like not actually making as much progress as you want as a team. So yeah, it's super difficult. I think every team just consistently goes through it, and we see it from even the top teams around the world. Right now, you see teams that are learning, they're incorporating new champions, and as soon as they do that, like, stuff that they were great at starts falling out the window. So yeah, I mean, that's like the eternal struggle of scrimming. But to go back to 2024 and your time in G2, winter split, I think was pretty smooth. I thought for the most part you guys were still the best team, and sometimes it felt like you guys were struggling, but you guys always ended up getting it done. It's like, no matter how bad the game looked, it felt like you guys would always come back, no matter what. So let's go into spring, because I think spring was actually a pretty interesting time, because this was famously when lane swaps were introduced. NIP did lane swaps, and when you guys were like the first team in LEC to do lane swaps. Like, you guys caught on, and you guys thought they were super OP. You guys were doing them every game, but it wasn't looking good at the beginning. You know, like, you guys were having some really weird lane swaps where you'd get really behind. And I remember in the finals versus Fnatic specifically, you like lost game 1 doing a lane swap. Then game 2, you were like super behind while doing this lane swap. And everyone watching was just like, can these motherfuckers just stop lane swapping? Can they just play normal league so they can just beat Fnatic? They're about to lose to Fnatic because they keep on lane swapping. So I wanted to ask you about like how you guys decided to be so pro lane swapping, why you guys thought it was so good, and why you were the team that did it so much in the West.
Yeah, I mean, it started from watching NIP, I'm pretty sure, and we wanted to try it as well and see how it went. And in scrims, it was going pretty well. And then on stage, I remember, like, the first game, I think it went well, like, because it was unexpected as well. So, of course, they didn't know. I think it was versus BDS, it was the first time we lane swapped. And they were, like, very lost for, like, how to match it. But the more we played, I feel like the more we played it, the more lost we got as well, because we tried to, like, one up everything we did, and we tried to just become like even better at lane swapping. But then there's always like some kind of fuck ups. Like a lot of games where BB was he just got fucked because he just couldn't walk up to a wave, or like we did like maybe TP at the wrong time, or maybe I didn't cover at the right time, and it was just we tried to do like we just too much all the time, and then at some point we just like started losing most of the lane swap games, like from all the way from spring going into MSI as well. Because in MSI, I remember it was like Team Liquid was like lane swap like kings kind of, and yeah, I don't know. Remember how much we did it in like the finals and all, but the lane swaps, I think we adapted very well in the beginning, and then we like slowly got worse at it until we didn't do it anymore. We like slowly stopped doing it less and less and less, and then we didn't do it at all from doing it like every game before.
Yeah. Do you remember the drama about your lane swap versus BDS? I believe.
I don't know. Did they like predict a lane swap or something?
Yeah, they trapped you on top side with 5 man.
Yeah, people were saying like it was leaked, and I'm still not sure if it was like leaked or not, but it's a bit weird that they were like all trapping, right?
I will say this. I was on the side where I thought it wasn't leaked. I was like, nah, they probably just predicted it. I heard from a pretty reliable source in person, because I was actually in Europe during this, where I went to karaoke with like a bunch of people, and I heard from a very reliable source. Somebody came up to me and told me that shit was 100% leaked. Yeah, and I was one of the people that was against it. It's like I didn't agree with Monty. But apparently that's a fucking soul read. Apparently Monty just knew that shit. So that's something that I'll say publicly. Monty was right there. He was the GOAT there. Assuming that my source was correct, but I just don't know why the source that I had would lie. Like, it was one of those things where things had already blown over, so it seemed very strange that it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 1 year ago, right? So it should be. Yeah, by the way they played it, it feels very weird that they actually predicted it randomly. But yeah, maybe the source is lying as well. I don't know. Maybe they were just smurfs.
Maybe they're the GOATs, you know?
Yeah, maybe
they're the GOATs. Maybe they're the GOATs. Because, I mean, Adam went out, denied it publicly. So we don't know what the fuck happened, bro. I mean, obviously, I can understand why Adam would do that. Even if it was leaked, you don't want to, like, it makes you seem like you're, like, cheating or something, right? So, like, why would you say anything else? Yeah. But, yeah, so you guys had the spring split. You ended up winning that finals. That was, like, kind of, like, not the best finals, which I think was a common theme throughout most of this year, is that you guys were winning finals, but it didn't feel like real finals wins. Like, it didn't feel like you guys were playing like one. Yeah, super well. Yeah, the summer one was definitely the most reviews. We'll get into that later. Then you guys went into MSI, and this to me was like the best that you guys had like played in an international. I mean, the best that any team has done in an international in years. I know you guys went to finals in first stand, but to me, this MSI is like, with the amount of best of fives played and everything, it just felt like more legit. You know, like MSI is just a whole different beast. And you guys did really well when it came to just playing against, for example, T1. Like, you played against T1, almost won 5 games. Hansama decided not to buy LDR. He hates the item. You know, whatever. It is what it is. We'll talk about that later. But I wanted to ask about like how you guys came into this tournament, because it felt like you guys had very like unique strategies when it came to how you play, like specifically like the Poppy support. That was something that Mickey was playing. Everyone started playing it afterwards. Like, how did you guys prep for this tournament? Because it felt like you really had a special look compared to previous iterations of G2.
Yeah, I remember this tournament going into it that we kind of just wanted to play what we thought were like the strongest, and we didn't really like copy others. That's why we played, for example, like I play my Rek'Sai a lot. Like, I was the Rek'Sai guy.
Goat.
we were winning like every game with Rek'Sai, so it felt good. I was like playing Ivan as well when no one was really playing it as well.
Played Belvath in Game 5 versus T1.
Yeah,
Hell
that one we forget. That one
okay, never mind. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about
that
it.
one was cursed. We invaded them and they knew. Unlucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we just same with the Poppy support, right? And we also played. That's also when we learned like that we have to win games by not only playing Raven and Caliste, and I think we like improved on just playing more champs everywhere and just adapting well in drafts. Because I think our drafts were like very, very strong. Like every game we played, like versus T1 as well. It's so sad we lost at best of 5 because I feel like we played like very good this like that day, and then we lost against them the next time. But the whole MSI was, I agree that it was like probably my best international tournament that we played. Like this and first stand is like really hard to compare because I mean first time was also like a bit crazy. Like the road, like the journey first time was like very crazy, but winning the best of 5, like especially against top esports, was like a very, very nice feeling for me, and also almost beating T1.
Yeah, so I mean, when you guys came into this tournament, I mean, it wasn't just like the Poppy support. It was like BB's picks. He was playing Zach top all the time. People were like, "Is this shit just fucking broken?" Yeah, Yasuo and Tanar, which was surprising to me because seeing like somebody play Yasuo and Tanar versus an Asian top laner and winning is like crazy. You know, I thought that was not the angle that you want to go, but it seemed like there was a lot of confidence in players. I wanted to ask you specifically about BB at this tournament because I thought BB like really was perfect at the tournament.
He was so good, yeah. His sack as well. Holy shit.
Was this like something that you saw coming based on scrims? Was he always doing well? Was he just performing on stage? Because I felt like BB like was normally known as an international choker before this tournament.
No, I mean I don't remember exactly how the scrims went, but I knew he was playing like he was just picking like he was funny, like very good counter picks, right? Like the sack in some games and like the Yasuo and Tanar. There was probably more champs that he played, right? And he was very, very creative and very good in these matchups. Like I was so surprised when he actually like won against Zeus, right? Playing the Yasuo and Tanar. Like I can't see another top laner like actually doing this, like and not being scared. He was like super confident. Even in the voice comps, I remember he was like so confident. He knew exactly what was going to happen, how he was going to go. And
it was actually the TF. I said Nar. It was actually the TF. It was TF top, and he was he was playing Yasuo into TF. That's what the match was.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it's similar to Nar, right? It's just top winner, and I mean, he is playing very good, very confident. I'm sad we lost that game because I think we also like we were so close to winning that game, but it was. I don't know.
Dive, I remember it was so close.
Yeah.
With the EQ
I remember.
When you played Lilia,
exactly.
It was so close. I remember the situation. You guys got ahead as well.
The series was. It's like a crazy series. We almost beat them. I feel like we were even 2-1 up as well. So like I remember going 2-1 up against T1. I thought we were gonna win the series, and then we fucking lost twice.
Even in that game 5, just to really rub salt in the wound.
Yeah,
like you guys were like 4K, 5K gold ahead.
Look,
like
if you haven't suffered in your career, we're gonna make you suffer here. Bro. We're gonna bring back everything.
To nicer things. You are the top esports slayer. I think honestly, you are a big part of the reason why the reputation of top esports is that they just can't fucking do anything at internationals. You have been in those games. You've beaten 3-0 at MSI. You've beaten 2-0 at first stand. What is it about top esports? Well, how is it to be in game with them? Do you have like parallels in terms of how they were in scrims? What can you share about playing and smashing top esports so many times?
Do they just suck? Just be honest. Are they just a terrible team? Like, because I've just been tortured by them.
Maybe they're just like actually like chokers because in scrims they were actually good. Like I remember playing scrims against top esports and Tian was just gapping me every game. He was playing so good, but on stage, I think he was still fine. But I don't know. I think he got a lot of hate. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he got a lot of like criticism that tournament. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like bot lane played very good. I remember us like picking like the Kog'Maw and like picking like I think. Yeah, we said good strats into them, and they were kind of easy to read, I guess, like the way they wanted to play. We knew like Jakob wanted like first pick Raven one game, so we gave it to him, and then we picked like the Jarvan stuff, and he just got like he couldn't play the game, and I mean they just look like mostly just like chokers, I guess, on international. I don't know, like whenever I watch the team like in LPL, they look good, like even right now they seem very good, but in first stand, I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just praying on their downfall every day. I get up at like at 3 a.m. every single day just to like hate on them, just to be there, just in case they lose. You know, like that's real hater energy right there. And it's partly because of you. But I'm going back and I'm looking at the games and like I feel like you must, as a jungler, you must love these matchups. So if you don't remember the matchups, I'm going to tell you. So you had Ivern into Xin first game. Yeah. So you're playing Ivern into Xin. Every jungler is going to be happy on the Ivern side of that if they're like a competent Ivern player. Then the next game, you play Rek'Sai versus Jarvan, which is like a classic. That's like a classic matchup that every Rek'Sai likes. And then game 3, he takes your Rek'Sai, and then you play Ivern again.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, they just didn't know about. I feel like they didn't really know how to play against Ivern. Like they didn't know. Like usually you kill the Daisy, right? But they just didn't care about Daisy. And every Ivern game against them, they just got like really fucked because I feel like they just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, the same at first stand? Was it the same?
What?
Because it was Kanavi and you also played Ivern at first stand.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, I think, what teams did we beat Tower Life as well with Ivern. Or was it Maokai? I don't remember. But there was some team we beat with Ivern. Like, it was like, yeah, we won some crazy games with Ivern. Yeah, I think the Asian teams they're not on the Ivern train like we are.
Yeah. I was actually looking back on this. One thing that I remembered is that it's funny because at that time, Tien played no Ivern, and then after playing against you, he's picked up Ivern, and he's just like, oh man, this is so broken. Like he started playing it the most, and he's like kind of known for his Ivern in the LPL. Like he's probably the best Ivern player in the LPL now. Yeah, like he's the Ivern guy. Like almost no one picks it in the LPL, and he was one of the only people that would actually pick it. I think he actually even picked it recently, if I'm not mistaken. I think he actually picked it this year. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look. Yeah, he picked it this year. And it's and it didn't go well, but yeah, he was influenced by you to just always pick Ivern after that series.
Yeah, but it's true because I met him at Worlds the same year, and he actually came like I don't know if it was him or someone came up to me and said that he was like looking at my Ivern games, to improve on Ivern. So nice. That made me happy. Tien learned from my Ivern.
No, I mean
he's my boy now.
Yeah, it's always cool when somebody is influenced by you. I've always thought that Ivern is always like I don't know how to explain it, but like I've watched enough European League of Legends that whenever a European team goes versus an Asian team and they're playing Ivern, I have like high confidence in the European team that they'll actually do well. Like I feel like that's just a European champ. There's something about it that is just like it's just good versus top Asian teams. Like the way that it's OP just works.
Yeah, I feel like they just don't know. They don't really know the thing. Like it was the same. Yeah, when I played against Kanavi playing Ivern, he's trying to invade me when I played Ivern, but he can't do it. Right? He'll play cards into my Ivern, and they seem a bit lost when they play against the champ, and that's why even Inspired, right? He's like banned a lot against this guy, and there's probably like a lot of people that play Ivern are good. Razukan and Roya, I know they're both good on Ivern too.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, this MSI was huge for you. You come back in summer. You're playing in summer, and this was weird to me because this felt like the first time that you guys went through like a serious slump as a team. So G2, people were expecting, coming off your MSI like performance where you guys get third in MSI. You guys fourth in MSI. You guys look pretty good. You beat top esports. It's the first time that a Western team has beat LPL or LCK team in a best of 5. Since 2020, it was like 4 years of no one being able to do it. Then you guys were able to do it. So people had really high hopes for G2. But when you guys came back, like things just seemed like really just weird. It felt like people were playing worse mechanically. It felt like you guys had lost a lot of your strengths. And it was the opposite of what people thought after your performance in MSI. So can you tell us something about like this time, why this was like such a tough time in G2?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what happened after MSI because I knew that like that MSI was like so good for us. Even though we got like top 4, we felt like we played very good. Like we were actually a very strong team, and we got even more excited for Worlds because of that. But going to summer, maybe it's like a thing of being like more like, especially for me, I feel like it can happen that when you get glazed a lot, you get like you play worse, and that's from then on, I just like hate getting glazed because if I read glazed, then I just feel like I play worse. So I always just
that's why I flame you, like because I care about your success. Like
thank you.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think we got so much praise after the MSI, even though we got like top 4, which is like not even that insane. But yeah, then playing the summer split, I don't remember so much of that split actually. I remember the finals, right? We come back every single game, like from being like 10k behind. But yeah, that was like a really rough summer for us.
It seems like, especially, I remember thinking, like, my opinion was always that in regards to how you play, it seemed like you as a player wanted to commit to a certain identity. I felt like in the earlier years, like in the early first year in G2, it was like all the invade style, all the carry style. We saw your Lilia gameplay and so forth. And then coming into the next year, it kind of pivoted. And I think I remember watching, especially in summer, there was this shift towards like the AP carry junglers. And I remember watching with Dom, and like a big confusing part for us always when watching is like, yo, why is Yike not dropping the Lilia? Why is he
we
not
wanted the
bringing back
Lilia, man.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there was a struggle there to find what your identity for the team was, because I remember you were trying to lean back on the Maokai, and I remember there's some mid gangs that didn't look like as clean as they should. How do you recall like your search for your identity, and why on earth was there no Yike Lilia coming through there in the summer split?
Yeah, I think that was like the split with the Syra brand being OP, right? Like that's when this happened. The AP Youngers and the Lilia was one of them as well. I know she was played like a lot in LPL, and we tried to make her work as well. But for us, like the biggest part why we didn't play Lilia was just because we were kind of just losing within in scrims. We just lost within scrims, and I don't know if it was like me or the champ, because I think the champ was still strong, right? He was like actually high tier, like you had good winners as well. But the games played, it was just too hard. And maybe it was just because the other champs were like longer range than Lilia. So yeah, we had this problem. I think a lot of teams like had the problem as well with like knowing if they want to play the AP jungle, like brand the Syra like Maokai, or not Maokai, like brand the Syra, Lilia, or if you want to play like tanky ones like Maokai, Seriani. And there's always like this thing, like some teams thought that Sergio Maokai is better because you can drop like easier comps with that. Or some teams thought like the brand Syra was better because it's a strong champ. And it was like, I guess kind of like a battle. Like I really wanted to play the AP Youngers, of course, because I thought it was strong. And in the beginning, it was not going so well, like in scrims. So that's why we also still played like some Maokai and probably some Ivan, some, I don't know if we played Seriani back then, probably not. But
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, we after some time, like going more into playoffs, I like kind of not force it, but I really wanted to play like the Brandon Syra because I felt very confident, and we started playing it more and more, and then it was just our thing, right, to play Brand Syra like every game, and we won like a lot of the games back then because of this, and like I remember my brand was like very high win rate, so I was happy being able to play this style, and I thought it was the strongest style. I don't know what other teams like think or like what the conclusion is, but I think the Brand Syra was just winning against the Sergio Maokai, and that's why we kept playing it.
I remember like the Gwen jungle was a confusing one, because the Gwen jungle was something that did well in scrims.
Yes, Gwen jungle, every scrim game I was 1v9, I was so fed. Then I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick it against I don't know who I picked first. It was like Fnatic and Koi. One of them, I picked it against one of them, and they humbled me. My Gwen, I thought I was gonna like 1v9 as well, because it was actually not a bad Gwen rot, but yeah, she was more of a screen champion. And then, but the thing is, we still like won every game with her, so we tried it one more time, and then we still lost. And after that, it was like no more Gwen.
It was like they did the two only losses in the playoff run.
Yeah, exactly. Sad.
I wanted to ask as a follow-up, because we had during that period, was it that, I think it was that period, because I was visiting in Texas, and we were doing an episode with BB, and we asked about you, and he mentioned that a big thing that you needed to like learn and to grasp was the essence of like carrying games, meaning like knowing what to demand from people, knowing what to get out of people, and like driving the game. Was this something that you were going through? Was this something that you were actively trying to learn? And what can you share from your point of view, knowing now what BB said on the Sackdown episode? What is it, half a year ago?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember like playing the champions more and more. I need to be the one like kind of like driving, like setting the pace of the like games, and just being the one controlling it. And I knew that in the beginning I was like, we didn't like win all the games, right? And I even had like one-on-ones with BB. He was like really helping me a lot to focus on like the way I can carry the games and how I can like take over the games, because that's also when there were these like discussions about playing the tanks or the AP carries. And it was the same, like I remember I was playing I was trying to make Talia work a lot in jungle. It was some point where she was like not, I don't remember what year it was even, but she was like actually strong in jungle, and every game I played it, I had like so many deaths, and we didn't want to play it because of that. And it makes sense, right? I think it was good that we didn't play it, because I would probably just grief, but I was really frustrated back then that I couldn't play the champ and they couldn't like carry games. And that's when since then we had like these discussions, like me and BB. He always like took me to the side and talked with me how and helped me, how I can improve on that. And then I remember now like going into this like into playoffs and like deeper into the games. When I played like these Brand Star games, I feel like I really took over the game, right? I feel like I got fed like a lot of games and we got all the objectives, we knew what to do, and I was very happy, I guess, with how I played. So, I mean, Bibi was actually a very big part of helping me to become that. Shout out to him.
Yep.
Shout out to BB. As a follow up, because the way I always summarize like that, those two G2 years is the poison that is scrim results. It's like you guys had the Caliste Draven, Orianna bans coming at you after like very successful scrim results. You mentioned now the Gwen as an example of a champion that you guys made the commitment to. And then, of course, the World Championship, the infamous, the Nocturne Orianna commitment in terms of like that's internal struggle of determining what data is good, what data is important, especially when like at the World Championships, like for everybody out there to understand, it's like you scrim against so many different teams. And sometimes you have one scrim day where all your views on champions just get shattered and you're just sitting there thinking, should we start from scratch? Should we lose? Like, where are we at? In terms of navigating that, in terms of navigating scrim data and making commitments, what are some of the struggles that you guys faced and how aware were you of the potential of being, let's say, wrong? Because that's, of course, a big risk when you prepare for a tournament.
Yeah, so this Worlds, I remember, was very stressful because I didn't know exactly like how good we were, especially after the summer split, because it was like messy, right? But in the end, I think we were very good. And I remember the first games I was playing the AP youngers. I was playing like Brand, I was playing Lilia, and it was going well. And then it kind of shifted, and I mean, it just looked, I don't know, like it changed, it just looked like not as strong. And then we had like 0 pride on it, which was fine because no other teams I think had as much pride on these champs. And it was more of the I'm trying to see what I played, right? But it was like only Nocturne I played. I see my matches. It's like 4 Nocturne games.
Yep.
And
we were losing our minds. We were losing our minds.
Yeah, we really like tunneled on the Nocturne Hori because we thought it was strong. We thought it was gonna be like game winning. Like we didn't want to play against it as well, right? So if we don't want to play against it, we should think it's good to play. And we played it. Like we had like maybe one game where we won and like one successful game, but yeah, I don't know. The combo it got into our heads, and we lost like some stupid games we could have won as well. And yeah, it was not as OP as we thought, right? And I don't know. I'm very disappointed that like I probably should have. I think I should have spoken up more about like the like at least the champion or like the combo that it might not be like the best thing. And I could have improved more on that part.
Yep. The wild Kana has just appeared. Nice.
Yeah.
He's stretching a bit. But
I wanted to ask because that Worlds was so unique because the previous one you bootcamped in Korea, there was Asian games, so there was like a big gap between things. Now you just stayed in Europe, right? In terms of like I imagine in terms of who you scrimmed against, like how much actual interaction did you have with the Asian teams in preparation for the tournament to get like a stronger meta read? How was the prep for the tournament?
Yeah, it was for sure much worse than 2023, like in scrims and prep, because it felt very not depressing, but it was like a bit sad that it was like gonna be in Berlin and in Europe, and we couldn't do this boot camp, this travel thing, because that's actually I think a very refreshing and very nice thing that we did like a lot throughout the year, but this time we had to stay in Berlin, and we kind of I think we needed this like change of you changed the environment, all of that. So that one felt very bad, and the scrims. I think the Asian teams came also came like very late. So it was.
I want to ask you something about before the Asian teams, because when you first started scrimming, you guys were scrimming against Team Liquid, and when I saw the results, it was like Team Liquid was just like blasting you like every game. Like both NA teams were just like, I guess from what I heard, it was just like they just knew how to lane swap better than the EU teams at that point, and they were just like blasting like every single game when I looked at the scrim results. So what was that like when you started scrimming the Western teams before the Asian teams even arrived?
Yeah, it was a very weird feeling because I remember like after summer I thought we were good, and then we started scrimming like the NA teams, and they come and they just stomp us in every lane swap game. Like I think we went like 0-6 against SideQuest and like Team Liquid also like stomped us like a lot of games, and I don't know what happened, right? It was just like the lane swaps. I assume they played the lane swaps like insanely good, and we actually thought like Team Liquid was like an insane team. We were like, oh, I guess this team is like so fucking good, and yeah, then of course we lose a bit of confidence because we're losing the NA teams before the like.
What does that mean, man? Like, what,
because on paper we should have been better. Like MSI, we were better, right? So that's like from the history we have, and yeah, we got like really humble in these scrims. And we did lose some confidence, and we had like a lot more discussions, more arguments in the team. It was like the mood was not as good. Like plus the fact that we couldn't travel anywhere and we just had to stay in Berlin, stay in our office and scrim. They got like very frustrating for like everyone, and yeah, it was hard to like just take it in. And yeah, we kept playing. We kept like going like 2-4, 3-3, like just bad scrim results, and we knew we were not the Scrim champions anymore, like the Scrim World champions. Yeah. But we are still like fine because like even in the summer we had lots of scrims, but we still won the split, and we realized that winning the scrims doesn't mean that we're gonna just be better or worse. We just have to make sure that we're good on the game day. And yeah, we started scrimming the Asian teams, and they were also like pretty good. I think T1 was actually pretty like playing good against us as well, and yeah, it was not easy. But on stage, it looked like we were like so much better than on scrims and like than last year. Like the game versus Home Life, we almost won, right? And it was a close one. And I feel like we like fought them very hard. And the game, I think the first game was versus Loud. I think Pain was Pain. I don't remember which one. It was exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we won against them, but that like we don't really count that as like versus like one of the harder teams, I guess. But I'll try to remember like the last games we had because I feel like the game qualities were not like us winning by playing like 50-minute games and being just lucky or like clutch. It was actually us winning by playing better on the map, and we were like actually playing very good on the map. And we realized that on the game days that like we're actually playing very good, like especially like the day versus PLG when we dropped the Nocturne and we like started winning like we won the game.
That must have been so miserable to play because I was looking at that game and I saw Nocturne Oriana. Do you remember what comp they had?
I'm gonna check actually. Yeah, you can tell me.
They had Skarner, the most OP jungler. This is like Thanos Skarner, like the goated Skarner. They had Skarner on red side, plus Jax. You're playing Nocturne into Jax.
Bin Jax.
Bin Jax. And then you have Knight on LeBlanc. And then the enemy has Kai'Sa Alistar bot lane. Who the fuck do you go on, bro? Like, how do you even play your combo in this game?
Yeah, and then after that game, we dropped it, right? Because we still tried, like, even after the T1 loss we had, we like kept trying it because we still thought it was good. And then after that game, we were like, nah, we're not playing it anymore. And I don't know if we banned it the second. I will check if we banned it the other games or if we just ignored it. Okay, we just ignored the Nocturne Ori, yeah. But I think it was a good thing we ignored it because game 2, I played the Skarner. And also, I was not sure. People didn't really understand or not like they didn't really get on the Skarner train. Like us, we were very late because we didn't know how OP he was. But then we realized like he was like very OP. So we also played the second game, and then we kind of I don't know if we stomped them, but we played good against them. Like it was like good, we convincingly won against them. So going into game 3 was like exactly. So we knew that we know we were good. Even with the T1, like okay, it was just not an game, so it's it's not even hard to say. But I know that we were like actually a very strong team. And then we go into game 3, and it was like this long fucking game, and we actually lost it like on the NAS as well. I remember all of like an elk doing some crazy shit in us.
Yeah, he just spoke way too much Chinese. Like that was the thing. Is like you just had no one that understood Chinese on the roster. So like, what can you actually do? Like it's actually just impossible to play at that point.
It was like so sad that we lost that. It was like, I mean, they clutched it that time, and we could have won that game. Like we was like actually we were ahead like most of the time as well during the game, and we could have really won that game. And the fact that we lost it in the end, and knowing that we're like out, we're out of Worlds, and that was probably like knowing that it's probably like our last year together as like the 5-man playing 2 years together. It really hurt, right, to lose that one.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. Oh, what were you gonna
say? Yeah. Then seeing them also go to World Finals like after, because like knowing BLG went World Finals and almost could have won Worlds, right? They were like so strong, and we almost beat them. That was like also like shitty feeling.
Yeah. What I was gonna go back and I was gonna ask you a couple things. So one thing that I wanted to ask you about was the discussion. I think it was like a Sheep Esports article that came out that you weren't going to be part of G2 anymore, and this was like during like the actual tournament. So like how did you feel like at this tournament? Because I feel like psychologically this must be so weird to like try to perform and then also know that you're like probably getting kicked at the end.
Yeah, it was a very crazy day. I remember it was actually the game day we played against Weibo. The day we played against Weibo, I woke up, I checked like Twitter like normal because it's just like a habit, and then I see like just random like people talking about like Skumon replacing me for G2, or like that I'm just gonna be replaced, and it was really weird because I've never experienced like this kind of thing before, especially like playing Worlds, and it was like already a lot of stress, and that situation was very very hard for me, but I think I feel like I actually handled it well because I just kept telling myself like I would just ignore it, I will not believe it no matter what, even if it's true or not. Like I will tell myself that I will not believe it, and I will just focus on playing as good as I can. And I was still happy with how I played that day. I think the Weibo game, I think I played good, and like the rest of the tournament, because I had a talk with like Romain after, because like he took me to the side, we went outside to walk and we talked about it, and like he explained everything. So for me, I feel like I handled it well, even though like later on, like when you look back at it now, it's like it was probably like there's probably a big chance that it was gonna happen, and it was a very weird feeling, but I felt like I handled it well at least.
Did you think like I know you said you're convincing yourself that it wasn't real? Did you like know deep down that it was real? Were you like, oh yeah, this is probably true? All right, like how did you like actually internalize this?
I mean, deep down, I thought that it was probably real because I remember that he was like he didn't sign for like I think BDS like signed the 113 or something, and that was the team he was like on before, and that was like that's why I was like confused why I didn't sign him, right? Because I assumed he was just waiting then, and then why else would he wait for, right? If not V2, but like I still don't know, and I don't really care about it now. But I thought I was probably cooked in case we lose and like don't go like World
semifinals or something. Yeah, that's what I would think too. Yeah, that's definitely rough. I definitely wanted to ask you about that. Then also, the other thing I wanted to ask you about was the like lane swap situation, because I feel like a lot of the issues that you guys were having was around lane swaps as a team. It felt like for some reason like the lane swaps were just never really going well for you. So why do you think that was that it was hard for your team to really grasp lane swaps? Because you were originally one of the better teams at lane swaps, and it felt like for like you said over the year you just got worse and worse at it to the point where you stopped doing it. So why do you think this actually happened?
Yeah, I mean it's so weird how we kind of like lost the fire we had on the lane swaps, because we were very good at it, and then especially at Worlds, like seeing Team Liquid like stomping us with it, we tried to like copy them a bit, and it was like a different kind of lane swap than what we had. It was the lane swap with like support always going mid, and when we lane swapped, it was like never happening that support went mid. So we had to like adapt to them kinda, and I guess when we adapted to them, like the Liquid just I don't know what happened, like but this team they just improved even more, and Corey J was like he was like in the craziest places all the time. He was always like I don't know if he was like the main lane swap guy in the team, but he was just playing so good on the map. So playing against this team, we learned like more about lane swaps, but I don't even remember if we played it, like if we did lane swap in the games, like especially at Worlds, because I think it got kind of, I don't know how much teams lane swapped at Worlds, but for us, we kind of just lost the spark we had on it, and we like whenever we did it, we fell behind. Like whenever we did, we fell behind, and we can't really tell why. So that's why we stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm. That was actually something that Caps mentioned when we had him on, that he mentioned it as a regret that he, because he was also like sad about the fact that the team would like discontinue, and he was mentioning to us that he regrets that he didn't just sit down with everyone and just like look at how Team Liquid did it and like really break it down. And something I wanted to share, I believe I've shared it a couple of times, but I figured I'd say it here too. I was fortunate to co-stream, I believe, the FlyQuest How Alive series. So I met Nuktak, who's like an old teammate of mine. So I met him. And I remember he was telling me that he was so angry that Team Liquid was lane swapping against you guys. Because basically his sentence was, I'm so fucking pissed Team Liquid is showing them how to lane swap. I watched the regionals and they fucking are playing Nidalee Irelia matchup top like they don't know anything about lane swap. It's kind of crazy how that juxtaposition is, because it was only like in Europe where the matchups top were like really like freaky. And
like
what was played. it was a crazy like shift up. I remember Nuktak, like he was so angry about this, like he
Really?
turned all red.
Yeah.
He was very unhappy about this one in particular. I guess.
Yeah, I think we could have adapted more to it.
Yeah, he was on the sack down afterwards, and he told us like pretty similar thing where he was just like, yeah, like these EU teams just had no idea like how to actually lane swap, and it was just weird. Like we also had Spawn on as well, and we asked about the TL lane swaps, and essentially the way that they described it was the reason why they started lane swapping so much was because I forget exactly how it was, but it was something like they wanted to lane swap when they were actually like in MSI. And Spawn like challenged them to be like, oh, if you're actually gonna lane swap, you better be fucking good at it, because we don't really like it, we don't want to do it, so like you better fucking lock in. And then like the players were super motivated to like become the best at lane swapping because they were challenged by their coach to like to try to be the best at it. So that was like kind of the origin of the TL swaps.
Yeah, I remember they were like one of the only few teams that actually lane swapped in MSI, because I think a lot of teams didn't lane swap, at least in the beginning, and it was just like whenever it's come TL, it was just them lane swap. Like whenever it's come to Liquid, it's just gonna be them lane swapping every game, and it was a bit annoying for us.
Yeah. You guys think like, man, these guys are so bad, they can't like play bot lane like men, they're fucking lane swapping all the time. Like,
Yeah, I think that's mostly like a bot lane thing to think. It's probably like a bot
some
lane
cope,
to explain them. Yeah, for me, I don't really care. I'm just jungling.
I wanted to ask on the topic of, because we mentioned already like your departure from G2 and the whole Sheep Esports article, in terms of like, because I think for a lot of people, especially because of the example T1 set, I think people don't understand the, like, let's say, baggage and how much you go through together over 2 years, because you spend so much time together that usually when it reaches 2 years, it's very uncommon that teams even stick together for so long.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you in terms of the differences in terms of, let's say, the energy from the first Worlds to the second one, because I remember like was very fast confirmed. This team is running it back. We can do better. Boom. What was the energy like? What were the key differences that you, let's say, saw beyond, of course, the article in the end?
Yeah, I mean, I remember after 2023, everyone was like very disappointed. We had the like talk after, and like a lot of people were like crying as well, and it was like a very sad like debrief we had. And yeah, I don't know how long it was until we all had a talk, and we were like, yeah, we're gonna run it back. And yeah, I mean, I was very happy. I think everyone in the team was like happy doing it, because we knew that we had so much more than what we showed, and it went on pretty smoothly. I don't know how many days it was between, the loss into us saying that we stick together, but yeah, that one was very smooth. And then 2024 one was like more weird, I guess, because yeah, it was like the leaks right into losing, and same way like everyone is sad, and everyone is probably like a bit more sad because it's probably like 100% sure that something is gonna change, because we can't just not reach playoffs 2 years in a row. Like something has to change, and it makes sense, right? And then it was like 2 days, and then me and Nick were out. So yeah, it went on very fast, and it was really hard to just process through everything. But I mean, that's just how it goes, I guess, in esports. It's very weird, and at least I experienced it now. So it won't be new to me if it happens again or something.
Do you think that if you guys, because it's like the news, as you mentioned, it came out like fucking before your Weibo game. So it's like your tournament was not concluded at all. There was a world where you guys defeated Billy. Do you think there was a scenario at all that would like revive the idea of like continuing? And, was there an idea at all? Did you feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, I could still see it, especially if we would have won against BLG. I could for sure like still see it, because I don't remember who they played in the playoffs, but I knew that we were capable of reaching like at least semis in Worlds. Like I feel like I really believe that we were like very, very good as a team, and I knew like there was T1 very strong. I think Genji was strong, and Hammer Life, and then there was BLG, right? And then I don't remember like all the teams like correct, like exactly how strong
LNG,
they were.
Weibo.
LNG, Weibo.
Yeah, LNG, Weibo. It was like hard to know how good they were, but they were like fine. And then yeah, I think we could have reached like semifinals. So us not doing that sucked, but yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes, right? Well, it's very competitive, very hard.
In the aftermath of it all, like obviously me and Dom, we share our opinions from the comfort of our home. That's what we do while you do all the playing and so forth. And now Dom is coaching C9 and I'm coaching NLC, and we're going insane doing the competitive side too, banging our head against the wall and on certain topics. But what I saw, like in terms of the G2 change, right? Like I thought it made sense for G2, and it also made sense for you, because we mentioned before, it's like Yike needs to suffer to like evolve as a player and go into a team with a bigger responsibility. How do you view this commentary? It's like me saying it's a good thing for both you and G2 to move on. How would you view this statement?
Yeah, I mean, saying it now, it's probably like kind of a good thing, because you just needed something needed to change, and it makes sense. Like if we just can't win or can't go like further in 2 years, then something has to change. And I don't know how good it is for G2 right now, because right, like they didn't win the first bit they played, so it's hard to know. But for me, of course, it's like better for me. I'm happy with what happened. And
did you enjoy that a little bit? Like, because I feel like as a human, you know, like I always like to see the teams that I used to be on do worse without me. Like, is there part of it where you're like, yeah, like you guys deserve that shit?
I mean, winning against them for sure was a very different feeling than winning the other split, and I felt very, very, very happy. Like I was like screaming, you know, winning, like when we won the game, and there was like this voice comes out of me and Torgen was talking about G2, kind of like not blaming, but we were, you know, happy.
Yeah. Oh,
this one definitely seemed so much more yours than the previous one somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the narrative was my narrative for like the 2 years was just I'm getting carried by Caps and BB as my solo lane, and that was like the narrative I had on myself. So beating these narratives and winning against them, like without them, made me just feel so proud, I guess, of myself and like my team. I knew like this KC team is like very insane, so it's not like it's on me only. I knew that everyone played very good and everyone really worked hard for this.
So obviously it's like now on the KC roster, it's like Kana very experienced, Targama's also very experienced, but then you have like Caliste and Vladi and so forth, and your role must be so completely different. In terms of how you prepared yourself and how you adjusted to things, how can you share with us how the big, like the contrast between you being a jungler for G2 with all these big players and now a different environment in KC?
Yeah, it's very, very fun to experience this change. I was like obviously a bit like scared because I had to take a bigger role in the team, but like so far this one split we had and going into the second split, it's been very nice, because I think in G2 the biggest regret I have is that I didn't say much myself. Like I didn't have like my own opinions, I guess, because I just listened to the rest, because I knew they were all very experienced and very good. Like they had won a lot, all of them, and they were all very, very talented, experienced players. So I felt like it would be weird for me to teach them stuff. So I was just there listening to them, doing what they said mostly, and trying to adapt to them. But now in this team, I can have my opinion much more, and I feel like I can have very good opinions about like a lot of stuff. Like for example, like with Vladi, I feel like I can talk to him. I can like kind of frame him more in a way where we both learn and like feedback. And with Caps, it would be hard to like do it with Caps because he already knew like so much, and it's like hard to. It's like a very different feeling of going from like Caps to Vladi, because both are very good in like both are very talented players, but Caps is the one like was the more experienced one, and I was the new one. So it would be weird for me to like say stuff like that, like he could improve on, for example, even though like if there was or not. But with Vladi, it's like I guess it's easy because he's just younger and he will like take my feedback, same as I would take the feedback from like my old teammates in G2.
In terms of the expectations that built up over the split, because you guys hit the ground running, right? It's like you had the game against G2, like you stole the dragon and then the Atakan, that was like the big one. And it's like, oh, it's like, damn, Yike is the smite god now, you know? Like, okay. It's like he showed up G2, you guys won. Because I always thought it's like, oh, this team, it's like mechanically super good, but then the big question mark is like Tagama's more of a reserved person. Yike, of course, coming off the back of course, you know, you were in G2. In terms of how things were developing internally, did you guys see the potential? How early could you imagine like going so far to win the split?
Yeah, I mean, it was very weird before joining KC. Wait, sorry, kind of singing a bit. He just started
okay, well, let him sing.
Yeah, my bad. No, but before I joined KC, it was like a lot of also narratives about like KC, it was like people saying like we're gonna be like a muted team because people say like Canada doesn't speak English fluently. People say Targa doesn't speak a lot, and we have 2 other rookies that could not be able to like control the whole game because they're rookies, right? And me also being like the more of the rookie as well from G2, so I should not like be a leader from the start. And yeah, it was like a lot of talks about us just being a muted team, but it was like just fully different from that. We all like talked and we all clicked very well, very very fast, and I could already see in the beginning that our mechanics, our team fights are just insane. Like we played like the fights we played like really like almost pixel perfect like in some team fights, and we really make sure that we outplay enemies in the things, and that was like our biggest strength. And you could see, and then it's also like in the beginning we were not even that good, but we managed to steal some dragons and attack so we could win some games. But we adapted slowly, and we just became like very very good because also they're also very good like macronauts. Like, I think Target is like very very smart like on the map, and the thing that like the fact that people were saying like he doesn't really like talk is like for me it was like crazy because then I had that like in my mind that like okay people think that Target doesn't talk. Then I joined the team with him because I didn't know much about Target, but it was just not like for me it was just not true. He was like playing very good. He was like making very good calls and just say like getting a pace of the game as well, helping me to just take over the game. And I feel that, like me and Targa being like kind of the leaders of the like team right now because we're the oldest ones and like together with Kana, but he doesn't like speak the language fluently. So I thought of him to be a leader. So it's mostly me and Targa taking the role, and I feel like we're doing it very well, right? And that's also probably why we managed to win Winterset because we took a we took the role like very serious and managed to work hard on it.
I can add as well, from my side, because I work with Tagamas for only one split, and like in that split is like one of the challenges that we tried to tackle was like he had all the right ideas because outside of the game he was like insanely smart. He almost always had like the most amount of input on draft and like was very very involved in the process. I imagine it's the same now. But a big thing, a contention point always that I had with him is like. He says he didn't want to say things because he thought that things were obvious, and that was like a big contention point, I don't know how similar it is now, or if he's like different, or if that's something that's come up now. I imagine as well after the year of turmoil that he imagines this year as like this is the shot that I need to do something because obviously the previous year wasn't successful. Is there some contrast there, or is it just completely different now? Because for me, it's fun to imagine, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the same thing as well about him when he was in G2, that, things should be obvious, so it doesn't have to be said. But I think it's not the same anymore. I think he actually just speaks out his mind, like when it's like stuff like about the game and outside of the game, he really speaks out his mind, and he's very, very like honest in that way. And I think that's very important for a team to have someone that can be like very honest. I think both him and Vladi are like that. They just, they will just say whatever they think, and even if it like sounds toxic, it's a good purpose, and we learned so much from that actually. And I think it's not the same as probably what you experienced or how it was in G2. I think it's very different now.
Okay. On the topic of your teammates, because it's like I think a big thing, always people assume that all rookies are the same. I feel like from my experience with talking with Vladi and like watching Caliste play in the scrims, because we had like the in-houses back then, and I feel like Vladi and Caliste are the people that are like the least. They act the least like rookies out of any rookies I've ever seen. Can you give your take on this? It's like in terms of how they are and they behave. Because I remember the story from Caliste that he came into the KC roster after they like griefed the spring split. He came in and he started like flaming people. It's like, why the fuck are you not playing solo queue? Play more. He's just like a 16, 17-year-old coming in and like bossing people, What can you tell us about how Vladi Caliste work as rookies?
Yeah, I mean, they're for sure not the same as I was when I joined like G2, because I was more like, as I was more like on the back, just listening to them, trying to adapt to them and learning from them. But they are more like they have like their own opinions, right? And they're not scared of saying their opinions, which I think is very good. Like even after when I joined KC after Worlds, I was like, I obviously like had like trying to have like a little break, but then Caliste is in my DM saying like play more solo queue, trying to make me play solo queue, which is good, He wants me to focus on the game as well. And same with Vladi, I think very honest, very like he's very also he doesn't care what like if people take it take it bad, like the things he says, because he knows it's for a good purpose. And yeah, they both just don't act like rookies, even though they're like very young. Actually, like being 18 and 19, it's very crazy to be how, at least in game, how like mature they are, like with the things they discuss.
And like you've been fortunate in the sense, like not only from the teammate side, but like from the organizational side. It's like you work with G2. I think in terms of like organization, in terms of structure, probably like the best you can get if you just want to like compete. And then you join KC in terms of like the fandom and in terms of like the investment they are making and the vision they have, of course, for KC to succeed. What are some of the comparisons that you feel between the two orgs? And what can you share about the experience of joining KC and getting like the big blue hug on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's a very great feeling to join KC. Like instantly when I joined, like I got so many comments from the KC fans just cheering on me, and then I knew I was gonna go to play the Red Bull event with them, for them, and also there was the KCX event. I didn't play it sadly, but I was there, and I also met some of them, and like the fan base is like so amazing. For me, it's like crazy how like nice everyone is. Like everyone I met has been so nice, and it's just been a very crazy like journey, like shifting from G2 to KC, and I'm very happy where I am. This is my new home, and I'm so happy to be here. They helped me so much, and like especially like the new staff and teammates I have, they like made me feel like one of them, right? And again, I was like the only new one in the team, and I feel like in the beginning I was a bit scared because I went from the best team in Europe, G2, and going into KC that had like pretty rough like last year, and yeah, I think everyone wanted to win, and everyone had the motivation, and all the fans also cheering on us just helped us. And yeah, you're going every week to the studio, like seeing like fans coming from France, also is amazing to see. So yeah, I appreciate everything.
And
I wanted to ask you about I wanted to ask you about like the team playstyle, because normally when you have a team that's a lot of young players, Vladi, Caliste, etc., teams are not that disciplined. Like they just want to fight all the time. And when I looked at your playstyle, the reason why I liked watching you guys a lot is because you guys are one of the most disciplined teams when it comes to like controlling space. Like when you guys get into a dragon situation, like I feel like Vladi's always in a good position to like not let people enter. Like everyone knows their job to control a zone. How did you guys develop this style? Because this is not what I expected when it came to KC. Like when I thought about the players on paper, I was like, oh, this guy, like, they got players that are like mechanical beasts and stuff. The games are going to be more chaotic. They're going to be more about mechanics, outplaying people, as opposed to being like slow controlled, like tank junglers, mages mid, like playing around, like dragon stacking. How did you guys get to this point of playing the game? Because it just seems a lot different than at least I expected.
Yeah, I mean, it became very natural, I feel like, because we played scrims, we played a game, got used to each other, and then the more we played like, these control comps and playing objectives. We realized that we were actually like really, really good. And yeah, I don't think it was like anyone like mentioning it or like talking about how we want to play it. It's just us, everyone is kind of on the same page. Like we're all on the same page going through like team fights or objectives, and we all know where to be and what to do. And we played like very, as I said before, like not pixel perfect, but we played very, very good. And that's why it's like hard for some teams to team fight against us. And that's why people have this thing where they say that we are like the best team fight team, because I believe so too. I think we're very good in team fights, like even versus Asian teams. Like we can actually just outplay this, and that's where I think they have a lot of strength on us from the last 2 years in G2. That's where like they start the team fights against us, right? In G2, like we got like outplayed in a lot of team fights, but now in KC, I feel like we're the ones outplaying the others in team fights, and it's a weird feeling, but it's crazy that we are playing it like this good.
Yeah, I mean, also you guys draft for team fights, which is a huge part of it as well. Like you had to be able to do that. You also need to like play specific champions that are going to be good in those phases of the game. I wanted to then transition to how you guys have been playing recently, because after First Stand, it seems like you guys took a lot of like influence from there, just especially even just noticing like Vladi's champion pool. It seemed like you guys were not content with just, being the team that picks, control mages every single game and tank jugglers. Like you guys wanted to adapt your playstyle and advance yourselves as a team to incorporate more assassins. Like you guys played against Zika, obviously, right? So like Silas, Akali, like you're playing Vi still. You know, we won't speak too much about that, but you're playing Vi still. And you guys have like this idea to try to push yourselves more this way. Was this like a conscious thing for like the team afterwards? Where you're like, okay, we're already good at this, but now we need to take the next step and be able to play more aggressive types of comps as well?
Yeah, we wanted to adapt. We wanted to become better at playing other like comps and other styles, I guess. And we already knew, you know, we know that we are very good on playing this like control comps, and that's why, you know, we're spamming a lot of Vi, for example. And obviously some games have been looking a bit rough, and there's all these like
Yike
things
Vi.
about me, all the Yike Vi, everyone playing it, but like I will not care about that. I think no one in the team cares, and you know, I'm still playing it. I will still feel confident to pick it in like no matter what. And
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's fine. Nah, but I will just always like believe in what I think is good and my team. And if we believe in something, we're gonna like keep playing it. And we know that we're a good team. So yeah, we want to be able to be better at other styles and just playing the game. Like just play some different styles, different methods, and see. And because we kind of watch a lot of Hanwha Life, and we want to like learn from them a bit.
I wanted to just throw in there that it's kind of funny to me because, you know, I obviously coach Blabber now, and Blabber is essentially it has the same narrative as you do around Vi. Like every time Blabber would lock in Vi, my whole chat would just be like, "What the fuck are you doing, you dumbass coach? Like, why are you still letting this guy fucking play? And don't you know he's terrible at Vi?" Like they just do all this shit to me. And I assume that it's like one of those things where like your teammates at your coaching staff, they know you're not actually a bad Vi player, even though the games have went bad on stage. It's like in scrims, there's like no way that you're actually just like always having bad games on Vi, and it's like, oh, like, or else it just would never be picked on stage. So I feel like I understand you because I just see you as European Blabber when it comes to Vi. It's like, I swear he's good at it. I swear he's good at it. Just give him a moment, you know, like he needs to just keep on picking it on stage. Eventually it'll end up working out.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to, like, if it doesn't work on stage, like you just, like, you can do small changes, right? Or like have talks about it, but I don't want to give up on a champion.
Yeah, I mean, also it's like a champion that you just think is strong, right? Like I think Vi is OP. Like I just think it's OP. So like when Blabber wants to play Vi, I'm like, yeah, just play Vi. Just give him pointers. Like this is what the fuck this is what you're fucking up on. Don't do this, more this. Like, and then we just try it again. We run it back, and eventually, you know, hopefully it progresses. Or you know, if you get to playoffs and you're like, fuck it, okay, now we actually have to be serious. Now we gotta cut the Vi if it ends up being like, you know, too bad. But that's what it is.
Fearless, you know. You don't play Nocturne Oriana 4 games straight. It's fearless.
It's
out of the pool.
The combo is never gonna be happening anymore. Don't worry.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I wanted to ask you, like in the context of like how the winter's playoffs played out, and then of course now it's like the winter playoffs, like the G2 series, the first one, where I would say you guys got like heavily outdrafted in the majority of that. The aftermath of that, especially with how things played out, like going to 5 games of Fnatic and then 3-0ing G2 the way you guys did from outside, that was fucking impossible to see. What can you share about like the main lessons and main takeaways that you guys did, and how were the conversations like in the back room, you know, leading up to like a pretty fucking impressive playoff run? Especially with that Fnatic game 5 with the volley bear fucking running it down. You guys just kept cool, and
Jesus Christ.
And then in the end, just smashing
the MF Lulu. Wasn't that the MF Lulu?
MF Lulu, and then the volley bear, and the Stylas, Lost Flash.
Lulu first pick into Jarvan. It was a good. We got them in draft there. But I think going to playoffs, I think we were all very confident because it was us against G2 in the upper bracket, and we knew we were very good. Also in scrims, we know we were very good. And then playing with G2, they, for sure, they had very, like, I think they had good drops. Like, there were things with, like, I don't know if BB played like the Warwick, but that was ready for him, right? And then even capturing like the Amnivia, like, they actually found like very good picks, and it was hard for us to play, and we also didn't perform good. And after that series, like I think we went 1-3. It would be hard to, like, thinking about like winning the split after that is like, it feels hard, right? Because you just get beaten by G2 and they like convincingly kind of beat you, and you have to beat them again if you want to win the split. And then you also have to beat, like, now you have to beat Fnatic or Koi, and they're also like a stronger team. They're going into the Fnatic series after. it was for sure much more stressful because also if you lose that, you're out. At least we had like an extra life when we were playing against G2. And yeah, we went game like 5 games, and it was some spicy games. I'm happy. I actually the Fearless I really like because I think he helps us and probably like other teams, and I think a lot of people like the Fearless, right? Like the fans probably likes it, and a lot of people like it. And going into
people in my chat have been asking for the Game 5 Belveth. They want you to run it back one more time for the culture.
The Belveth again.
Yeah,
he will come back. One day he will come back in the Game 5.
All right.
It is Fearless, right? So he's gonna have to come back.
Fuck, I feel like it's too OP in solo queue. It's never coming back. You know, like it's never gonna be competitive viable. It's just way too OP in solo queue.
True. But yeah, I think we got them in draft like Fnatic the last game, and I played the Yaron, and I think we also adapted very well in draft. Like at least, from the first against G2, we adapted pretty bad in draft, and then we had lots of talk how we can do better, and that's what we improved on for Fnatic. And then I think we did good. Then going into G2 again in the finals, it was a weird finals because we kind of stumped them, right, 3-0, and I think no one really expected that to happen. I think at least it would be like a close series, right? But we actually stumped them, and I was not sure if we actually played very good or if they played bad. I think it was a bit of both because I think we played very good. We performed good, and we was not like we didn't deserve to win, but they also underperformed, I think. So winning that series, like actually stumping them, felt good. As I said, like we like all screamed after the game. You know, after game 3, winning the last team fight, we knew that we were champions, and it was a great feeling.
Yeah. And now you have 8 titles.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Out of 9 splits.
I saw one of your tweets like, I had same titles as Peanut or something. It was,
I congratulated Peanut.
Peanut,
he won.
he has as many wins as me, I know.
Yeah. It was after he got his 7th title in summer. I was like, congratulations to Peanut as now at tying Yike as like the most domestic titles of any jungler or something like that.
I mean, I do think it's a bit like the fact that it's like 4 splits right in a year. Like you can actually win. You can have 4 titles in 1 year. It's like
it's kind of OP. Right? No, I mean, like it's a joke about the format. It's not like supposed to be like blaming you. It's like it's more just like you just think about like what like an LCK title is. Like Peanut is fucking going through like a fucking war every single time, like playing these 5-game series versus T1. Then you show up and you're like, I won 4 titles this year, Peanut. Like what have you been up to? Like you won 2, like you won 1, like
the LEC format is crazy. It is crazy, but I would always count like the big ones or like the season finals that we had, like I have my titles now. It's like 8 or 10 nights, and I will go for 10.
Yeah, that means like combined in this call we have 8 domestic titles. How crazy is that?
Holy.
Nice, yeah. That's a lot of them.
Fucking nice, man. It's perfect. I mean, Yike, I think we're winding down here, but we did a long episode with you, bro. This is we normally go through people's careers, and I think a lot of the other people we have are like people that we know like personally and stuff. So we cover a little bit less because they tell stories on streams and stuff. But since we never talked to you, we decided to go through everything and just get your opinion on a bunch of different periods of time. But the way we close things out here is we always ask our guests, is there anything that you came on the show that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to address? Is there anything that you expected to talk about that we didn't mention? If so, we can talk about it now. If not, we can end it. Tried to be as thorough as possible, but there's obviously like a bunch of stuff that, goes through, through the grate, so to speak.
Yeah. No, I mean, coming in, it was nothing I had planned, right? It's nice to talk. Nice to go on like on the stack down. I saw my friends like Mickey and Caps was there too, right?
Yeah, Caps, BB.
Yeah, Caps, BB, Mickey. Like my old teammates all been here, so my turn as well now. So it was nice.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you talking to us, spending time, and just going through everything. We watch so much Pro League. We've watched your entire career, so it's nice to just like get to speak to you about like the things that we like. For example, disagree with like the Lily angle. Where's the Yike Lily or all this stuff that we always end up saying on all of our streams. So thank you for being here. It was a really good episode. You did super well on the episode yourself. So hopefully everyone enjoys it out there. And yeah, that was episode 30 of the Sackdown, and we will see you. I don't know. We do these like once a month at this point. It's like 3 weeks a month. Whenever you see us next, we'll have a different banger guest for you.